I'll make a motion that we
There you go. Okay, Kat.
Oops,
Yikes.
it's only a battery pack.
Can I have everyone's attention, please? Can I have everyone's attention, please? Okay, I'd like to call the meeting for the town of Monroe of April 18th, 2022 to order. I'll make a motion to open that meeting.
Bingham to second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Bull, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
can I?
Okay. I'd like to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, and after the Pledge of Allegiance, if you could remain standing for about 30 seconds. I'd like to have a moment of silence for Betty Sapp, who was a dedicated town employee for 23 years. She served as our assessor. And if you haven't got the agenda, there's a couple of public hearings and some items we have to tend to beforehand, and then the meat of our meeting will be after the public has spoken and has heard the informational session tonight. This coming Saturday, April 23rd, is Clean Sweep. It'll be held from 8 to 12 at St. Anastasia Church. There will be electronic recycling at our highway garage. Freeman's Auto will be doing oil recycling. And we will have tire recycling and paper shredding at St. Anastasia. Also, if you're able to, we have a number of roads that we have to tend to with respect to cleaning the garbage up. So if you're able to attend, that would be awesome. Would really appreciate it. And bring whoever you want, kids, friends, brothers, sisters. It's a great day. There will also be free sandwiches afterwards provided by Scancarello and Sons in the St. Anastasia parking lot. You're starting that at 11?
11 o'clock, yep.
Okay. A couple of announcements. Item 3.3 is the grant award. This town board has worked on a grant, and I really should say my secretary, Jennifer Snars, had worked on a grant which we were awarded in January or February of 2018. The money was finally deposited into our account last week. It was a $50,000 grant, which represented renovations we did in our clerk's office. So it was an arduous process, which we ended up getting done with the help of Assemblyman Carl Brabenek. I just want to answer one of the questions that was asked at our last meeting. It pertained to the solar farm and the cost of electric, which was interpreted when it was in its infancy stages and during the development of it was going to save the town money. Unfortunately, it did not. It was a contract that this town board was basically stuck with when it happened, when we got on board. In 2020, the town's electric costs were $141,031. In 2021, because of the solar farm and the kilowatt hours it produced, our costs went up to $254,864. That's a $113,000 plus increase, which is about 80% over the prior year. These are some of the issues that we're dealing with. It was brought up by a prior constituent for the town last meeting, and I wanted to get the numbers so I could answer his question. On to public hearings. I'll make a motion to open up the continuation of the public hearing in relation to the increase and improvement of facilities of Water District Number 14.
I'll second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Good night.
So moved.
No public comment?
No public comment. The only thing I can add to that is I spoke with our engineers. They are in touch with the county, Nicole Anderson, who heads up the CDBG group, and they are reviewing an income survey that has to be approved by HUD. So once that is done, we will end up with an answer as to whether we're going to be able to qualify for that. Do I have anything else to add? So moved. I'd like to keep open the continuation of that public hearing for Water District Number 14 to May 2nd at 7 p.m. or immediately thereafter.
Bingham to second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Good night.
Okay, so moved. Motion to open up the continuation of the public hearing in relation to the increase and improvement of facilities of Water District Number 8. Do I have
I'll
a second?
second.
I have a second. Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Good night.
Okay, so moved.
No public comment?
No public comment. Anyone have anything to add? I don't have any update. The engineers did not have any update either. Okay. I'll make a motion to keep open the continuation of the public hearing in relation to the increase and improvement of facilities of Water District Number 8
Poole, on.
on May 2nd at 7 p.m. or immediately thereafter.
Poole to second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Good night.
Okay. I'll make a motion to open item 4.6, sorry. I'll make a motion to open up the continuation of the public hearing regarding proposed amendments to local law D-V1, amending Chapter 57 zoning to amend the special permit requirements applicable to hotels.
I'll second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Good night.
So moved.
No public comment?
Anything to update, Councilman McGinn?
I believe that went up to the county for the GML review, and we are just waiting. We're probably over the 30-day period, so we'll, I think probably by the next meeting, we should be able to act on it and adopt the law.
Okay, so you want to schedule a public hearing for the 2nd
Yeah,
or
I'll
the
make a
16th?
motion, we hold the public hearing, or continue the public hearing on May 2nd at 7 p.m. or thereafter, shortly thereafter.
I'll second. Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Good night.
So moved. Item 4.7. I'll make a motion to open up the continuation of the public hearing regarding proposed amendments to local law E-V1, amending Chapter 57 zoning to establish a two-family dwelling overlay for the area of the town of Monroe, north of Route 17.
I'll second that.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Good night.
So moved.
No public comment?
Ed?
Yeah, we just, we had a meeting with the planner to refine that process and how that would work and what that law would look like. We have some, he just submitted a revised draft local law, so I don't know if everyone on the board has had a chance to look at it yet, so I would recommend that we adjourn this to the 2nd, to May 2nd also, to take further action on it.
Wanna-
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we
I'll second.
continue it on May 2nd at 7 p.m. or shortly thereafter.
Okay, and that's for the two-family dwelling overlay.
That's-
Okay. Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
And I,
Item 4.9 is a motion to open the public hearing, A-V1, to consider the adoption of local law to amend Chapter 57 zoning concerning the heavy industrial zone, which
I'll
are
s-
proposed amendments to the HI zone.
I'll
Sorry.
second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
and I,
So moved.
No public comment?
Councilman McGinn has a comment.
so the board received a petition from the owners of Monroe, which that project is before the planning board at this time, looking for 4 text changes to the zoning for that area. We had a meeting with the planner. All those changes we felt were acceptable, with the exception of taking out the environmental constraints when it came to calculating net lot areas for building. So I think what we should probably do at this point, what the planner recommended, is that we respond back to the petitioner, tell them that these are the changes that we are willing to make via text or via text changes, and alert the planning board, CC. Let them proceed with the project at that point.
Okay.
I'd let the planning board proceed with overseeing the project at that point.
So this has already gone to the county?
No,
No. Okay.
I don't believe so. It has?
Yeah, that's the one that went up in February, correct? Okay.
Yeah, but I believe that went up there as the original petition that the petitioner sent. I don't believe.
Correct. There was no
that's not-
amendments to it.
Right, it's not
Okay.
minus and I think we're all on board with that. We had discussed this at the last meeting.
Yeah, I don't think you'll need to resend that, because if you're just not going forward with the change, then it's not going to change their analysis, because you'll just be leaving your code as is. So you don't need to resend it, but we can advise the petitioner of the provisions that we're removing and see if they still wish to proceed forward with that petition.
So I'll make a motion that we proceed or authorize the attorney to do a letter back to the petitioner stating that we are willing to make the changes absent the not using the environmentals as part of the net lot area.
Okay. And then we'd recommend you continue the public hearing till whatever date the board chooses for that purpose.
Want to push back on that back to the 16th then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Make a motion that we adjourn it to the 16th.
Okay, so the motion
Not
is to
adjourn it,
keep
but
open
keep open the public
Yep.
hearing to the 16th.
public hearing for the HI zone to amend the adoption, to consider the adoption of a local law to amend Chapter 57 for May 16th at 7 PM or immediately thereafter.
I will second that.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
Aye.
So moved. Just to clarify, Madam Clerk, the motion was made by Councilman McGinn. I was just clarifying. Okay. I'd like to make a motion to set a public hearing for May 2nd, 2022 at 7 PM or immediately thereafter to consider a local law to opt out of exemptions for energy systems under New York State Real Property Tax Law, Section 487.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
And I,
Okay, so moved. Okay. Next up is tonight's informational section, which is why everyone is here. Few words before we get into the public speaking and the presentation by Mr. Neil Gold. If you would like to sign up and speak, we have, I think, 17 or 18 speakers currently signed up. You're more than welcome to come up to the clerk, put your name down. We'd like to keep this to 90 minutes. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to speak. This is what our public speaking rules are and what they have been for the last 6 years. Your We're looking forward to hearing your voices, and we thank everyone for attending this evening. Whether you have thoughts in favor of it or whether you have thoughts against it, don't be shy. Come up, sign up. We'd love to hear what you have to say. I will ask that you kindly be professional, state your name, where you live, into the mic, and it will help us have a productive exchange of thoughts this evening. Please be respectful of those who speak regardless of where they stand on the topic. Refrain from calling out, and I don't expect any personal attacks during your address to this board and the public. Once again, we do welcome all your opinions and input, and we have relished this type of participation in our government. Back in 2016, when Councilman McGinn and myself targeted running for the town board, transparency was the #1 topic on our agenda. And it has continued with the addition of Councilman Scancarello, Councilwoman Bingham, and Councilwoman Houle. Between our new website, our constant contact, our open meetings, the public being able to speak, and having Channel 22 at in your home, there's no hidden agendas here. I promise you that. When we make decisions, those decisions are based on truths, facts, and information provided not only by our attorneys, our engineers, our consultants, and experts, but any research that we as individuals do. It's a disservice to our residents and an injustice to the town board when facts are misrepresented. We're entertaining many projects that we feel are beneficial to the entire town on many levels. And with transparency being at the forefront of this process, we want to avoid any false information that you might be presented with, because that is what circumvents transparency. What is a little troubling to myself, and I'm sure this town board, is why, when there's a disagreement, do people have to go to the dark side? Why can't we just talk it out like you're here to this evening? Get involved in other meetings, not just this evening. Each member of this town board got involved to make changes and to stabilize taxes in a way that sets this town up for future years. We understand and accept the fact that our board and individually, we're subject to ridicule, scrutiny, and attacks. But you really cross the line when you start publicly accusing us of crimes. The ignorance to do that publicly is extremely hideous, and I really pray for those of you who did so, whether it was out in public or whether it was on social media. I pray that you refrain from doing that, and you could soon obtain a better understanding of this board's integrity and love for the town of Monroe. And please refrain from lies and unwarranted comments. For all those concerned here this evening, and I know everyone is, we all relate to your passion, and we appreciate your involvement, along with the possible fear you may face of the unknown regarding this project and other projects. But with the misinformation, inaccurate updates, and many dishonest statements with misleading facts that was put out there, like I said, was very discouraging to all of us. I want to clarify one major deceptive conclusion that was made, and it's regarding the wetlands on the property that we're speaking of. First, Mr. Gold has no intention, I repeat, he has no intention of touching the wetlands. He understands the laws and he understands the guideline. there was a statement that was said that any disruption or pollution to the Orange County Dinosaur Park would create in this wetland area could potentially contaminate the shared groundwater between this site and Monbassia Lake, contaminating Monroe's water supply irrevocably. That is not true. I spoke to 2 planners, I spoke to our planning board chair, and I spoke to our engineers. And I did so after doing some research on my own. The spillway at Monbassia Lake is at 855 feet. These wetlands are below 800 feet. So if you wanted to contaminate Monbassia by doing so through those wetlands, you'd have to pump the water up there. It's not feasible. One other point, contrary to what was written on social media and printed in papers, our board has been following the municipal processes to the letter of the law, guidelines which we didn't create, but rather were created by the state. The town board nor myself hide from anything. I've had an open door policy since I've gotten here, and every day that door is open. You're welcome to call me. You're welcome to stop in. If I cannot meet you, I promise you I will call you back. And if I did not call you back, there was about 12 to 14 people that did reach out to me. I apologize. Please come up and see me afterwards. I'd be happy to answer whatever concerns or questions you have. I'll be the first to admit our mistake, and if we do, we will correct that flaw. Once again, you will have 3 minutes to speak, and your time will begin when you begin speaking. Keep in mind that tonight, whomever wants to speak will have the ability to do so for up to 3 minutes, like I said. And we ask that in order to remove the frustrations for those of us that might not have spoken yet, that if somebody spoke on a topic in detail, let's say it was traffic or was noise, I don't have a problem, and I don't think this board has a problem if anyone here wants to reiterate that, but I don't think it's necessary to get into the details. We'll make note that, okay, 8 people complained or commented about traffic. I think it will make for a more advantageous meeting for us all. Again, thank you for being here. It is appreciated by us all. I'd like to turn it over to Councilman McGinn right now.
Hey, thank you, Supervisor Cardone, much appreciated. Welcome everyone tonight. Glad you could come out. It's been a long time since we've seen this many people at a meeting. It's nice to get this turnout again. Just a couple of things. This is a big crowd here this evening. I just want to point out the emergency exits. So in the back of the room, there are 2 emergency exits that go out to the parking lot. If you are in the back of the room or towards the back of the room, that would be the way you would evacuate out. We have 2 entrances here. We have 2 entrances behind us. You go to those entrances, either left or right will take you out of the building. This will take you onto the deck, and you make a left to go out onto the lawn. This will take you out to the front of the building. There is also an exit out through the kitchen if you are seated along the wall there, or you're the camera person, so that you're not stuck here. So those are the exits for the venue, just in the unlikely event that we would have to use those. All right.
Mike, one other note, restrooms, out these doors, straight down the hall, make a right when you come to the end. They'll be on your right-hand side, both men's and women's.
Right next to Tony's office. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so there's been quite a bit of information and misinformation that's been out there about this project. So I have a short slideshow just to kind of go through what some of those misconceptions might be, to explain them. Hopefully, some of those questions that you might have in mind, this slideshow will put your mind at ease, or maybe it'll raise other questions that you want to ask as part of the public information session. So if I could ask you, our town clerk, Val, if you could advance to the first slide, please. Okay, one of the things that are out there is that that is a 131-acre amusement park project that has been approved by the town. And that's not the case. The parcel that is owned by the town is 131 acres. It was deeded over to the town back when Mansion Ridge was built. There was some restricted covenants that were placed upon it. Over the years, we have been approached by people that wanted to build a hotel complex, some other things that we felt was not going to be in the character of the town or good for the surrounding area. This project as planned, and Mr. Gold will describe that to you when he does his presentation, is not 131 acres. It's 35 to 40 acres of that 131 acre site. So it's not taking up the whole site, and it's got a very, very light footprint compared to what some of the other proposed uses or what could have been put there. So just to kind of get that out there, this is not the whole site, all right? There are wetlands that, of course, will not be disturbed. The town has a more restrictive wetland buffer than that is actually required by the DEC. Our wetland buffer is 100 feet, so that is more restricted than and that's something that we enacted when we redid our master plan back in 2018. The resolution authorizing the lease of this land was passed on March 7th, all right, and that was just a resolution to authorize the lease. The permissive referendum notice was posted on the town's website and published in the newspapers on March 11th, 2022. The notice stated by law that the approval was subjected to a permissive referendum allowing residents to pursue a petition process if a vote was sought on the lease of the property. So I know there's been there were some petitions out there, change.org and some others, but they were not, they weren't done through the process that would have required it, and there were never it didn't follow the proper legal, and maybe Brian, Mr. Nugent, you could describe what that process is. Yeah, just real quickly, just a quick oversight of it.
Sure. So the permissive referendum process is a requirement when something is subject to permissive referendum. It means that it could be placed on a ballot, doesn't have to be, if a certain percentage of citizens gathered petitions, signed them, and submitted them within that 30-day period after the resolution. And that would, and the difference is, and the reason Mr. McGinn mentioned for example, change.org, the petitions that need to be filed have to be formal petitions that are witnessed in the same way that petitions would be filed in the event of an election. So it has to follow the election law. And in this case, that time period has passed for the filing of those petitions. So while the town board can certainly consider other petitions in terms of objections and the sentiment of the public, it's not a legal petition for permissive referendum.
All right, thanks, Mr. Nugent. Got the next slide, please. One of the other misconceptions that was out there was that the town courted this project, and that's not the case. We've had people come to us over the years. I've been doing this for 6 years, that have proposed projects, some that we've agreed to, some that we haven't. The town was approached by the applicant, by Mr. Gold, after his application was withdrawn from the town of Wallkill. One of the other misconceptions is that the lease agreement was approved by a private town board vote, and nothing could be further from the truth. That was posted. It was posted on the town website as part of the March 7th meeting. It was clearly labeled Dinosaur Park, so it wasn't hidden in some other facet of the agenda. It was clear what it was for, and it was very public. There were people here for other town business, so it wasn't like we were trying to hide it. Everything was done out in the open, and that was part of the process. Again, it was properly noticed and advertised. Next slide, please. So the land is, one of the other statements that we've heard is that the land is 131 acres of residential area. So the parcel is zoned as an open space residential, which is 3 acres minimum per lot. There's approximately 22 homes that border the parcel on Bayberry and on Lynx Court, Bayberry Drive and Lynx Court. The current zoning allows for various uses of land, including municipal parks and also by special permit, cemeteries, membership clubs, public utility buildings, child day camps, places of worship, and public or private schools. Any environmental issues will be part of the secret process analysis conducted by the planning board when the site plan is submitted for review. There'll be a public hearing on the site plan and the opportunity for all to be heard. The applicant will be required to address all environmental impacts, including traffic. One of the other things we've heard is the project is still in review by the planning board. The planning board has not received this project yet. The applicant has not made a formal application to go forward. So just to kind of recap all that, this hasn't even made it to the planning board. Environmental review, traffic, noise, all the other things that are of primary concern to the people that are in this room are all part of the secret process and are all done before the planning board. So this is not a done deal. It wasn't done in secret, all the things that we've kind of heard out there. And listen, I'm not blaming anybody. People hear these things and they get riled up just like I have over the years living here. But this still has to go through a very, very, very public process of being vetted out, this project. And it hasn't even started yet. So there'll be plenty of opportunity for everyone in this room to attend planning board meetings and through every step of that process before this project is approved. It's not even close. Next slide, please. Some of the other things we've heard about is about road safety. There's a concern about that. Increased traffic that might affect commuting and school busing, and that the town's environmental infrastructure will be completely overloaded. Again, environmental review has not even commenced yet. The secret process, which is required by state law, has not even begun, and the applicant will have to comply with every provision of that and supply documentation to the planning board as part of that process. So any consideration that any part of that process has been done is not correct. So that process is not even beginning to play out yet. Next slide, please. So a lot of the information that's been kind of out there on it has been on the internet and on social media. So the one thing I can tell you is that we've always been real accessible over the last 6 years that we've been on this board, and some of us that are a little bit newer to the board. If you have any questions, email us, call us, stop by, grab me in Bagel World on a Sunday morning, grab me at Planet Fitness. I'm more than happy to tell you what I know about the project or what we know about the project and where it is. So don't believe a lot of what you hear. There's a lot of keyboard warriors out there. We all know them. Don't buy into it. If you want the truth and you want to know what's going on, ask us. We'll be more than happy to give you an up-to-date analysis of where it is and where it's going. So again, thank you all for coming this evening. We're very happy to get this type of turnout. It's been a long time. And listen, I can assure you, I've lived here since 1993. I've raised 4 kids here. We're not going to allow something to be built here that we don't think is in the very best interest of the town. One of the reasons we're doing this is that it will bring in money through the lease agreement, but it'll also bring in visitors to this town that will stay and spend money in local businesses and stores and in restaurants. And that, listen, everyone wants their taxes to be low, but you have to have ratables, and you can't put it on the back of the taxpayers. You have to have something else. One of the other things that we hear all the time is well, nothing gets built for us. It's other people developing. Well, this is something that we can control and that we can build for the town and for the people here. So I ask that just keep an open mind through this process and let it play out. And again, it's not even close to being approved yet, so be patient, and I'll kick this back to the supervisor.
Okay, so those that have signed up, the clerk will call your name. Please step up to the mic, state your name and address where you live, and...
I thought Neil's presenting
Oh, I'm
first.
sorry, wait a minute, yes, I'm sorry. Before that, we have a presentation by Mr. Neil Gold regarding the Dinosaur Park. Thank you, Councilman. Good evening.
Very glad to see such a turnout. I think, as the supervisor said, transparency is the key to any success.
No, yes, speak into the red one,
Hear me now?
yes.
Not that we don't want News 12 to hear it, but it's more important the people in the room hear it.
I'm not shy. I want to be heard. I appeared before this board a little more than a month ago, so forgive me if I repeat myself to a certain extent. But I think what we're talking about in this dinosaur park is going to be the third world-class destination that comes to Orange County, the first being Woodbury Common, the second being Legoland, and the dinosaur park being the third. I think it will be probably, including those three and Niagara Falls, the best and most attended tourist attraction in the state of New York. In order to show you what a dinosaur park looks like, we have a little video that I'd like to play from a dinosaur park in England. Can we play that?
Val?
It's a 2-minute video. No, that's not it. Those are little dinosaurs that kids ride. That's it. We get some sound on that? There we go. One look at that, and you can see there is nothing that is resembling an amusement park in what you just saw. The dinosaur park is not an amusement park. It is a recreational and educational learning center for children of all ages. We were all children. Which of us wouldn't enjoy walking in a park like that? Which of us wouldn't enjoy taking our children to that, or our grandchildren? So the dinosaur park has several elements. We will have 60 animatronic dinosaurs and 30 dinosaurs that do not move. You will see the dinosaurs that do not move from one side of the train, which will go on the perimeter of the site, and the other dinosaurs you'll see by walking on a roughly 2-kilometer long dinosaur path. That is basically the only footprint that there will be on the site. We will use no more than 35 of the 131 acres. Not only will we not touch the wetlands except to go over them with a bridge in 1 or 2 places, which is permitted by law, but there's a 100-foot buffer all around the wetlands, and we cannot touch that buffer. So that anyone who had concerns about the wetlands being in any way invaded by anybody, those concerns are not justified. We have in the state of New York the Department of Environmental Conservation, which strictly follows the guidelines in the State Environmental Quality Review Act, SECRA, and they will watch out for any potential infringements, which there will be none. But some people raise some interesting questions about noise and traffic. I think the loudest noise that one will hear in the Dinosaur Park is the laughter of children. There are no loud noises. There's an electric train.
Please,
The dinosaurs
Neil, hold on one second.
cannot be heard
Neil,
past.
Mr. Gold, can you hold on one second? I ask that we don't cackle while people are speaking, and I would hope that when you get up to speak, you're afforded that same respect. And if you're not, I'll stop the meeting again. Please. It's so unproductive. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, maybe we should talk about the Recreational Learning Center. And this is, we call it Dinosaur Country. That's our international logo. But really, it's a recreational learning center. It's a prehistoric educational journey for the whole family, for children of all ages. Can you move the slide up a bit? The Dinosaur Country Recreational is a world-class destination where families can come to learn and understand what the world was like 60 to 100 years ago. I don't think you can see that from the audience, so I'll read it to you. Please move it up. We know that children learn faster and with a deeper understanding
Speak into the
when
mic,
they're learning
Neil.
while having fun. Down every path and around every corner of the park, there's a new adventure that combines the fun and fascination of dinosaurs with an engaging learning experience that families will cherish. This presentation is an overview of the wonderful educational activities for children to experience at the Dinosaur Country Recreational Learning Center. Visitors to Dinosaur Country Recreational Learning Center will start with a 300-foot walkway after they pass the admission gate, with many interactive exhibits that will teach families about some of the many aspects of life on Earth over 60 million years ago, and get them excited about what they will experience upon entering the gates to the park. Giant footprints of various dinosaurs are sunk into the pathway for youngsters to step into to get a feel of the immensity of some dinosaurs and learn about their strides, their speed, and their weight. Life-size skulls of the ferocious T-Rex and the well-anchored, well-armed Triceratops that kids can touch, plus a Brontosaurus ribcage for families to walk through to get a first-hand experience of the enormity of these beasts. An interactive corridor that teaches us kids about the Jurassic, Triassic, and Cretaceous eras, the dinosaurs that lived in those times, and what the world was like when dinosaurs roamed the Earth. A Pangea globe where kids learn about continental drift and how the current Earth's land masses were formed. A pterodactyl wingspan silhouette, a cutout that kids can stand in with their arms outstretched to learn how big these flying carnivores were. An extinction exhibit where kids can touch real asteroid fragments and learn about the giant asteroids that hit the planet into the impending chaos, and from that, we know what ensued. This is a learning exhibition. Each exhibit will have an 8-foot learning wall with important facts about each dinosaur written in a friendly narrative that will turn parents into apparent paleontologists as they read to their young and eager children who won't believe their parents know so much. Each learning wall is playfully designed to be a giant infograph packed with important facts about each dinosaur, like the food they ate, where they lived, how big they were, and how much they weighed. All of the specifics of each species is balanced with fun. Did you know factoids? The stuff that kids really love to learn about, like how big was her teeth and how fast could he run? Each learning wall will also have an interactive component that will engage little hands and minds with clever queries that will get the whole family thinking. This is completely I've never seen this anywhere in the world. We're going to have 6 geodesic learning domes that teachers will bring their classes to from the entire region, from Pennsylvania to Connecticut, for field trips and for special staff lectures throughout the day for park visitors. Each 24-foot diameter learning pod will have a theme: Triassic area, Jurassic era, Cretaceous area, herbivores, carnivores, and extinction. Educational content for these learning pods, fossil and skeleton tents, and all of the other exhibits throughout the park has been provided by Dinosaur Country Recreational Learning Center's paleontologists from the American Museum of Natural History and through the University of Texas. the Dino Dig. Children love to discover. At the Dino Dig, they'll excavate dinosaur skeletons and fossils while learning how the dinosaurs were preserved for us to reach them. Every child will be able to take home 3 dinosaur teeth. They're not real dinosaur teeth, but they have a little bag, and each child will be given a shovel and a spade to become amateur paleontologists, archaeologists. The Dino Dig tent will have 4 age-graded areas, so kids of all ages and learning abilities will have a full experience unearthing their discoveries. Now, the dinosaur, we expect to have 5 or 6, I think 6, inclusive playgrounds. Each of the playgrounds will have one giant exhibit like this, which kids can jump and play and swing and ride and do whatever they want on. Which will have puzzles and interactive games for children of all ages and learning abilities. For older kids and adults with a passion for learning about dinosaurs, the park has a large, dramatically lit tent with multiple authentic fossils and skeletons, including a life-size Spinosaurus skeleton, each with informative interpretive signs. This tent will also feature talks and lectures from staff and guest paleontologists that will teach kids of all ages about dinosaur discovery. There'll also be audio guides, which will give visitors that you find in a museum, touch-free learning experience for every exhibit with multiple channels for different ages and dinosaur knowledge to deepen everyone everyone is fully engaged. Throughout the park, there will be educational signs with fun facts about dinosaurs that will keep kids thinking all the time while they enjoy the walk through the beautiful woods with their families. Each day at the park, there will be entertaining and educational theatrical performances starring moving dinosaurs, people in dinosaur costumes that have adventures with scientists and families. Riders on the T-Rex Express mini train will travel through 200-foot tunnels that have an immersive, educational, 270-degree audiovisual experience. They're not going to be fireworks, as somebody once said, in the sense of explosive fireworks. Fireworks meaning the last experience of the audiovisual experience will be something that they'll never forget. Kids can also participate in a treasure hunt where they must gather clues hidden around the park and then use them to solve a dinosaur mystery to earn prizes as they learn about various aspects of dinosaurs and their environment. Families will also learn about the wetland habitat and ecosystem the park has been carefully planned around and will diligently protect. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what this is. This is not an amusement park. This is a recreational and educational park. Children of all ages.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Neil.
Thank you. Okay. Can I go?
Okay, so our town clerk will announce your name. Please come up to the mic, state your name, where you live. You'll have 3 minutes. There'll be a timer on the screen, which will begin shortly after you begin speaking. Please be aware of it. We don't want to have to cut people off, so please respect other speakers by adhering to that 3-minute time frame. Madam Clerk?
Dan Doyle.
And here, I saw him before. Okay. Well, listen, when we put it out there, you know, you and Brian called to speak, so. Well, he made it, see, Brian made it sound like you were offering an alternative for the dinosaur park.
In that
Okay,
regard,
yeah.
it's on topic.
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
That's all right.
So I brought show and tell. I'm a disc golf course designer. I don't know how many.
Dan, just do me a favor, just come up, state your name, where you live,
All right.
and, yeah.
Dan Doyle. I'm from Warwick, New York, and I'm a disc golf course designer. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the sport of disc golf, but it uses wooded areas predominantly, like what I suspect this park is like. This course in that park would probably take up 35 to 40 acres. It would also avoid wetlands. There's 3 courses in Warwick. There's a course in Middletown. There's a course in Mahwah. It's one of the fastest growing sports in the world. There's a pro tour where players travel weekend to weekend for money. It's appealing to people of all ages, abilities, and agilities. It's minimally invasive. It's passive recreation. Just about anybody can do it. It's inexpensive to install, maintain, and play. And just to give you an example, there are 3 women that come to our courses in Warwick on a regular basis. And one of the women is 47, and her sister is 49, and her mom is 76. And they are 3 of our regular players, and they'll come out and they will play 2 or 3 rounds in a day. So it's the kind of game that anyone can play. And unlike ball golf, where you're hitting a ball with a stick into a hole in the ground, with disc golf, you're throwing a high-tech flying disc into a basket. This is a miniature version of the basket. Most baskets, they're about twice this size. Also, unlike a ball golf course, where a ball golf course wants to have real open areas for you to navigate your ball, we don't want open areas. We want wooded areas where you can curve the disc around trees. So I haven't been in that park. I've looked at maps, and from what I can tell, a quarter of that park would be ideal for a course. It could be if the Dinosaur Park, I just thought of this as the presentation was going on, if the Dinosaur Park were to happen and it was using 35 to 40 acres, it's quite possible that there's still room for a 35 to 40 acre disc golf course as well. I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to say. Again, all ages, all abilities, all agilities. Course costs about $25,000 to $30,000 to put in the ground, an 18-hole course, and most courses are paid for by local businesses and sponsors, so it would not be an expensive thing to do. I think that's pretty much, I hit all the main talking points, and I want to thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Dan.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Madam Clerk?
Maureen Richardson.
Hi, my name's Maureen. I'm from Monroe. There's been a lot of controversy around this park, and I want it on the record that it's our government's responsibility to keep us informed, so any information that's been lacking has been the fault of our representatives and this developer. As Neil Gold pointed out in the photo news defending his park, none of us have seen the plans, yet our town has signed this lease on our behalf. There'd be no need for articles defending this vision of our 131 acres if this was done right. Instead of a proposal on the feasibility, the fiscal benefits, the zoning laws, the cost of tourism to our community, and the environmental impact to wetlands or the floodplain, the March 7th meeting was a sales pitch on how much fun an 8-year-old could have for the day at OC Dino Park, which does seem like a lot. And tourism does have a cost. Traffic, noise, pollution, wear and tear on roads and other public infrastructure, policing and safety, and an irreversible change to the character of our community. How could you put a project of this magnitude in one of the highest tax-paying residential zones and expect that no one would fear for their property values, for their peace, for their voice in a community when you did this all without our consent? And councilmen of the board, you do understand the gravity of this situation because your campaign promises pledged to reduce traffic and environmental impact. Yet you claim to have represented the town on a serious environmental issue without a vote. And Neil Gold claims he always knew about the wetlands, but the issue is that the people here are just finding out. If you don't see the problem with that, then I don't see it being a good fit for Monroe. And given this developer's history, I don't. Given that this foundation that he started, called the Suburban Action Institute, was founded to break residential zoning, and it is infamous for suing rural and suburban towns when they fought against unmanaged high-density housing that he proposed that would triple the size of their population under the guise of opening suburbs. It's our land. We feel a sense of pride and connection to where we call home. We have a right to decide what happens to us here. When we moved in, we didn't move in down the road from the largest attraction outside of New York City, aside from Legoland. We moved to a place where the trees, the mountains, and the night sky were our neighbors, and the things we thought we had a right to keep have been slowly stripped from us. Well, we're here to protect it. What people here have found out the hard way is that we have to protect it ourselves. And in this case, that right has been removed. So if all of you really believe that this park is the perfect addition to our backyards, why not listen to the 650 of us who have signed the informal petition and maybe take it as an extension of the period beyond 30 days to put this to a referendum, or just put it to a referendum. My final question is, and a reminder is, other municipalities have already turned this down, and we might want to follow their lead. Thank you for your time.
Next speaker.
Maureen Hallahan.
I don't think she heard you.
Maureen Hallahan.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity, Supervisor Cordona and members of the board, for this opportunity to address you this evening. My name is Maureen Hallahan. I'm the president and CEO of the Orange County Partnership in Goshen, New York. On behalf of our board of directors, I'm here to support the Dinosaur Country Learning Center by providing factual numbers to what aligns with good common sense. When compared to the major influx of warehousing and industrial that the market is driving right now, there's such a need for warehousing projects and industrial projects. And there's been a major influx of high-density housing just because it was driven by the market. These types of unique and eclectic projects are hard to come by. And when compared to other successful dinosaur parks in North America and Europe, the Dinosaur Country Learning Center will offer unique educational and entertainment experiences that will become a must-visit tourism destination in Orange County. This tourism attraction will have an expected 300,000 annual visitors. This project will not be approved until a comprehensive planning process and seeker review is completed. Those meetings will take time and diligence as the concerns of the neighbors will be addressed. Much of the people that will be attending this park will be school kids on buses. So not the number of cars that are the like with other types of parks. Tonight we want to thank you for providing a forum where the Dinosaur Country Learning Center shares their vision and their plans to construct the Learning Center, allowing the public to ask questions and to comment and to support the project. So here are some reasons why supporting the project makes sense. When the Learning Center is operational, it will create 130 new jobs with an annual payroll of close to $4 million. Think of the number of young people who want summer work and just can't find it over the summer. That's going to go away down here. The capital investment for the Learning Center exceeds $12 million. It will generate approximately $3 million in annual sales tax, and they're developing less than only half of the overall site. The New York State Mid-Hudson Regional Economic Development Council fully endorsed this project as regionally significant and has awarded funding through Empire State Development and New York Market programs. That's how badly the state wants this project to land in New York. And the multiplier will inject millions of dollars into the local economy by people staying in hotels, golfing at Mansion Ridge and other nearby courses, eating at restaurants, shopping at stores, planning extended stays that include but are not limited to Woodbury Common, Legoland, and the Dino Learning Center. For these reasons, the Orange County Partnership stands behind this very strongly.
You know what? How about everybody there acts like the adults that I thought you were when you came in here, and let me conduct the meeting. I know the time's up. Don't be disrespectful.
Thank you, Supervisor.
Five more,
My
10 more
last seconds
seconds,
were,
Maureen.
we're living in an economic time where costs are rising and municipalities will have to be diligent in the planning of economic development projects that will help to offset costs. And this learning center will help to do that. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Excuse me? Miss Maureen, what's your residence? Okay. All right.
Enough. What'd he say?
Point of order. Next up,
Paulette Brown.
Microphone. Yes, I'm Paulette Brown. I'm a 36-year resident of the village in the town of Monroe. And what I have seen and lived is that the town board, in most cases, do not listen to their constituents. Now, I would like to further say that not this town board. I have not been to a meeting in years because reading what's going on, I really didn't feel the need until tonight. What has been done in the past by past boards has been to the benefit of its former members. I am asking our current board to listen to their constituents. And if the board decides to go with the Dinosaur Park, I request the issue be put up for a public referendum. The park under consideration will not benefit the residents of Monroe. In fact, there are more negatives than positives. The land, first and foremost, was deeded to the town for use as parkland by the developers, as was stated, of Mansion Ridge in the late 1990s. The property contains the O'Neill mine shafts, air shafts, and rocks throughout the woods. Originally, the land was to be used for soccer fields for both children and adults. This land is also in a populated residential area. Is your leasing option a loophole to get out of the original use specified in the deed? What happens when Mr. Gold decides to call it quits when his customer base doesn't hit his projections? Orange Turnpike cannot accommodate traffic if and when the park is opened. And with the closest highway more than 3 miles away from the projected site, how do you plan to address the traffic issue, which already has been an issue in Monroe without an amusement park? A few weeks ago, at 11 a.m. on a weekday, it took me 31 minutes from my home in Wingate Woods, which is off Freeland Street, also known as County Route 105, to get to the Route 17 highway, and another 12 minutes to get to my appointment in Goshen. A trip that most times takes me 21 minutes total took me almost 45 minutes. And this is just on a weekday without a tourist attraction. Mr. Gold has property in the Harriman Tuxedo area, which he has been planning to use for housing for more than 3 years. If that area is good for housing, then it would be perfect for the Dinosaur Park. There would be access to the train station and closer to an entrance to the highway, much less than the 3 miles away that we would have to travel now to go to the highway. Good for Mr. Gansarella, sorry if I said your name wrong, for bringing businesses to our town, much needed. But this is one business that will encourage us to leave Monroe. 25 to 30% of my Wingate Woods development has changed, but I have no problem with living with families more religious than I am. However, if this park goes through, more families, including my own, will be fleeing the area, and our town, as well as our town board, will be taken over. How about doing something for your constituents? A town pool, which was brought up 25 to 30 years ago and deep-sixed by that board, would be keeping with what is required of the deeded property, something we've been asking for more than 25 years. As an aside, I'd like to address those many people in here who have been posting on Facebook. This land is not for sale. It is owned by the town, and again, it is not a dinosaur park versus dense housing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk?
Katie Lancelotti.
I think you guys say it
Katie
again.
Lancelotti.
Oh, okay.
Carol Hawkshurst.
Get a taller mic. Carol, how are you?
I would like to start off saying thank you to the board as well. I think they don't have an easy job in what they're doing. And I'm saying that as a 53-year resident of Monroe and a fourth-generation family Hawkshurst in this area. With that, I would like to, just listening to various people speaking tonight, and I've always kind of, in the back of my mind, thought about this. Not everyone looks at the monthly meetings, when they are, people, they have children, they have lives, and not to say it's important to attend the town board meetings. I think this was something pretty big, and I know, Mr. McGinn, you mentioned there was notice about it. I look every so often. I don't look every single month. That came up, and I think I saw some post when, whatever, on a weekend, and I couldn't believe it. To have in a residential area, I think it's a great idea, the whole idea of a dinosaur park, but off maybe the quick way, but not in a residential area where there's one way going both way, as other people have mentioned. I'm trying not to repeat what other people have already stated. I mean, the traffic, the noise, the lights, how many thousands of people that are expected to come through there. I don't even know how that could be possible. And I know that there's guidelines that have, and traffic studies and all of that. I hope, I'm asking the board to really think about the residents in this area. I know you always have, but really, this will impact people who live right around the corner from that. I'm a little bit of a distance away, but I feel for the people that are even closer to that area. As far as bringing in revenue to the town, I don't know how, if there's going to be restrictions on which way they go to when they leave, if they're going straight down to 17 instead of going into Monroe. I don't know how that'll bring in business into Monroe, the restaurants. That's something, I guess, down the road. But I hope that what's considered is that this could be looked at a little bit more before us going forward, and not just through SEQR, but more for whatever it's called. I think it's SEQR.
Secret.
Yeah. But, more of some input. I mean, you could see from the amount of people. I've been to town board meetings. There's barely ever anybody here. This is a statement. And I know there's some people who couldn't make it tonight. And there is a reason why it didn't go through in Wallkill. And I know the residents were against it. I don't know all the details. I'm not going to say I do, but I know the residents were not happy with it there. I think that's it. And if we could also, as far as any monthly meetings that are coming up, especially for the seniors who, if there's another way, it's very hard to navigate on that website to see the town board meetings. I mean, it took me a while to figure out, and that was probably a year ago when I figured it out. But if there is any other way of trying to get more direct access to that, easier, especially for the people who, and there's people who have lived here a long time, not just me, but others, and I feel for them, because especially if they're older, they don't know how to navigate the website. So that's it, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Steve Gross. Steve Gross.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Town Supervisor and board members. I'm Steve Gross, Orange County Director of Economic Development, and I'm here to let you know that Orange County
Where do you?
Orange County government supports new microphones. Orange County. Can you hear me?
Where do you live, Steve?
I'm sorry. So I live in the town of Greenville personally. I am representing, as I said, the county of Orange.
Thank you.
I'm sorry about your microphone. So yes, Orange County government supports this project, the Orange County Dino Park Learning Center. You know, it brings together tourism, education, economy, and entertainment all into one site, which we're very proud of. We believe that it has many community benefits for the entire county, which are job creation, business opportunities. Restaurants and hotels particularly thrive from these activities. As Maureen said, over $3 million in sales tax is expected from this project. And we all know that sales tax from people coming in helps to keep our local property taxes down. We've experienced that in other places such as Woodbury Common. Family recreation is needed here in Orange County. This project provides just that. We all understand that. Young people need opportunities for employment and for education, and this project provides not just that, it also provides an interpretive center concept for those individuals to learn while they're there. So just want to let the board know and the members know that the county is behind this project, and we're here to answer any questions for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mike Levy.
My name is Mike Levy. I live at 30 Turnberry Court in Mansion Ridge. My wife and I are opposed to the Dinosaur amusement park. We really don't want a handful of town officials making a decision that could ruin the lives of thousands of Monroe residents. We should have been fully informed before approving a lease for this park. I recently wrote a book called Common Sense to Life's Issues. There was no common sense with this proposal at all. We are outraged. Here are just a few of our concerns. A big traffic and noise problem. The access to the park is from 2 single-lane roads in a rural, highly residential area. There will be hundreds of cars, school buses, camp buses, tour buses, trucks will be using Orange Turnpike and Harriman Heights Road to access the park. The entrance to Mansion Ridge Homes at Turnberry Court is on Orange Turnpike. The entrance to Mansion Ridge Homes' main gate on Mansion Ridge Boulevard is on Harriman Heights. The back entrance to Mansion Ridge Homes on Mansion Ridge Boulevard is on Orange Turnpike. The entrance to Mansion Ridge Golf Course is on Orange Turnpike. And for you golfers, to get to the 17th hole from the 16th hole, golf carts need to cross Mansion Ridge Boulevard in front of the Mansion Ridge main gate. A backup of cars trying to get in or out of Harriman Heights Road would cause a tremendous problem for golfers. All of these entrances are within a half a mile or less of the proposed entrance to the Dinosaur amusement park. To prevent terrible problems, multiple traffic lights would be needed to be installed. Police would be needed to direct traffic at all these critical locations, many times during the day and perhaps at night for night events. Also, how are police, fire, ambulances, EMS going to get through in emergencies? Adding to the traffic on Harriman Heights Road, there'll be a new housing development being built next to the golf course. This whole area is a quiet, rural, residential community. Home values will be hurt. The 110 Mansion Ridge homes alone pay more than $1,600,000 in taxes. This amusement park will cause home values to go down in Mansion Ridge, and as well as in many other areas in the area, and so will the property taxes. We have another major concern, and that's how this park will be operated. The same company that wants to build here in Monroe operates the Field Station Dinosaur Park in Leona, New Jersey. There were 83 reviews, 31 were negative. Let me read just a couple. John S., totally overpriced, not worth half the amount they charge. Most of the dinosaurs were broken, not moving or making any sounds. One actually had wasp nest in its mouth. The skin on most of them had tears or rips. One had no skin on the tail at all. What a waste of time and money. If I could vote minus stars, I would. Stay away is my advice. Brook N., the bathrooms are horrible. I understand they're portable restrooms, but the smell just opening the door would knock you over. Also, be careful of putting more than 3 children on benches in the main show. I witnessed 2 different benches collapsing during the T-Rex show. And here's Andrew J. I really don't know who's giving this place good reviews. This place is a money trap. If you want to pay $25 or more per person for that privilege, it's up to you. The people responsible for this place want your money. This is not a place that cares about education, paleontology, your children, or the community. I think that tells you something. And Monroe restaurants and businesses are not going to benefit from the Dinosaur Amusement Park. As we've been told, visitors to the park will either buy lunch or snacks from the park vendors, bring their own food. After spending an hour and a half or 2 hours, they will get in their cars and their buses and go home. We are a rural residential community with an infrastructure designed for private homes and should turn down the dinosaur park.
I have to cut you off. I gave you about an extra minute. I had to cut you off and go to the next speaker. Thank you.
Alex Rivera. Alex Rivera.
Will be popular. Good evening, everybody. My name is Alex Rivera. I live on Monbasha Lake. I've been up here 30 years, originally in Central Valley. I'm pleased to be here, and thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I consider myself aptly informed and qualified to speak today because I'm really like a block and a half from the proposed site, and I will be affected. But I want to start by saying I trust this town board when it comes to the proposal of this park or any other. And I'm in favor of the project, and I would like for it to be considered further as it was made in the presentation with Mike earlier, that this is just the beginning of the discussions. Why am I in favor? 2 reasons. First, and we don't talk about it enough, the kids will love it. I actually asked 10 kids between 9 and 12, and 9 out of 10 said they would love it. 1 wants to stay home and play PlayStation all day, but everyone else wanted were excited about the idea of this park. So, second reason, I'm impressed by our board members. Mike, Mary, Dory, Sal go above and beyond the call of duty with many different projects that benefit our town. And again, I've been here 30 years. They're accessible all the time, they're honest, they exhibit a high degree of integrity. So people are suggesting on social media not to trust our leaders because for whatever crazy reasons, it's unfounded. I don't believe for a second that our board would undermine the town of Monroe with this park. It's unfair and unfounded, and it's not based in fact. So, as many of my fellow residents, I too have questions about the proposed park. There's opinions and comments going around for the last 6 weeks, pros and cons, fact and fiction. So like everyone else, I have 5 key points that I hope can be addressed later on in a subsequent meeting. Impact on flow, traffic flow to and from the park. Impact on taxes. Are they going to be flat, up, or down? Any whatsoever positive economic impact on the town's revenue, businesses, and commerce in general. Wildlife, it was kind of addressed. It's 35 acres. Harriman is 44,000 acres, Harriman State Park. Sterling Forest is 22,000 acres. That's 66,000 acres. I don't think 35 acres is going to shift the ecosystem substantially. And then the wetlands were already addressed, so it's really 4 points. So in closing, I want to thank you for your time and for convening these town meetings to foster diverse opinions and also to have transparency between the board and your citizens. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Amanda Dana.
Thank you very much for having me. My name is Amanda Dana. I am the Director of Tourism and Film for Orange County. I'm also the President of Hudson Valley Tourism. I live in Middletown, New York, but I represent Orange County. So thank you for having me, as I've mentioned. And I'd just like to mention a couple things, because as I'm hearing everyone speak, I know that change is never easy, right? Change is, my goodness, back in Legoland time.
Let me just state this again, okay? Every time somebody has come up and spoken in favor of the park, the cacklers start. But when somebody doesn't speak in favor, when somebody does speak in favor of the park, you're allowed to applause for anywhere from 10, 15, 20 seconds, whatever it takes. Can we please show people respect? I don't care what side of the fence you're on. Show a little respect. Stop acting like children.
Thank you. I'll just continue. I'll take you back a few years. I was on the economic development team that attracted Legoland to Goshen. Some of the people in this room have been on that. We vet projects, we see them through, we shepherd them through planning, and we vet everything out. We vet concerns, we talk about what could be any ramifications, and we vet them out. And this is what this process is for. A year later, Legoland is open, and it's been contributing greatly towards the Orange County economy and Goshen economy. And believe me, if you want to talk about people not getting along, you should have sat in some of those Legoland meetings, and it was pretty tough, but we got through them. So now I wear the hat of a tourism director for the county, and we have a lot of great assets in Orange County. We have Woodbury Common, we have Legoland, we have West Point, we have Angry Orchard, we have a ton of them in Storm King Art Center. So we have a lot of good things, but one thing we didn't have a lot of was family fun destinations, a family place. Where do we take our kids? You know, don't skip over Orange County and go somewhere else. We need more family fun destinations. So I just want to make a point about that. And years ago, when Legoland was lost in Rockland County called and said, my goodness, take on that project because it really will turn around your communities. I just want to also mention something. Between the years of 1996 and 1999, I was sitting in this town board meeting listening to all the folks complain about Mansion Ridge, the golf course, the homes, and they were really complaining about that because they thought it would be terrible for Monroe, absolutely terrible. I believe some of those people are still sitting in this room. And I have to tell you that I have faith in the board, your leadership, vet it out, make sure we answer all those questions because they're very important, but let's see what happens here. And I'd like to end on this. Someone had mentioned that tourism has a cost, but no tourism has an even greater cost. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lou Medina.
Good evening, Mayor. Where do you live?
Live in Harriman. Good evening, Supervisor Cardone and Town Council. I am the Village of Harriman Mayor Lou Medina. And on behalf of the Village Board, I appreciate this opportunity to address this board on this proposed project. While I'm sure the proposed project will follow all the required planning board and state environmental quality reviews, I want to address an area that will certainly impact the quality of life of the residents of the Village of Harriman and surrounding neighborhoods. When shoppers coming from south of our area visit Woodbury Commons, They mostly travel by way of the New York State Thruway or Route 6 and enter directly into the Commons parking areas. The proposed theme park attendees coming from south of the proposed site using the New York State Thruway and Route 6, however, will traverse straight through the center square of the Village of Harriman. If you enter direction locations into Google Maps or navigation systems, you will see that you are directed to travel on Grove Street to Church Street in the Village of Harriman. These are both single-lane residential village roads leading to Harriman Heights Road, another single-lane road. These roads were not designed nor planned to carry the volume of traffic that this project is proposing, and would change the character of these residential areas. Just as in the case with Woodbury Commons, the previous proposed location for the theme park in Wallkill afforded a more direct, multi-lane, high-volume access that did not go through a small village such as the Village of Harriman. I respectfully ask the board consider the adverse impact to the Village of Harriman and residents by the significant increase in traffic through our village. Please be sure to keep neighboring municipalities informed, and should this proceed, I look forward to receiving the DOT traffic studies when they become available. And I'd like to just add one other thing. As a new mayor, I've come to realize that there are many responsibilities to our community. And as elected officials, it is not just fiscal responsibilities. I hope you will consider this during your deliberation for this proposed project. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Lauren Justin.
Hi, and thank you for having me. I'm Lauren Justin, and I'm a resident of Lake Sapphire over in Monroe, not too far off from where the proposed park is supposed to be. As a former teacher and parent of two, I am in favor of the park for many reasons. One being it'll finally give my kids something to do without having to drive a long distance. We go to the Bronx Zoo, we're hikers, we're avid outdoor people. There are more than enough spots to do that here already, and we visited most of the trails in this area. We frequent Bear Mountain State Park and all of the other local outdoor activities that are here, but this is going to be a great addition, not only for kids young in age like mine, 1 and 4, but also elementary and middle school age kids. As a former teacher, like I stated, field trips, they've kind of gone south since, at least since I was a kid. So I feel like this would be a great addition to that rotation of spots for teachers to take their kids throughout the school year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gina Jacobson.
Good evening. Hello, board. Got up quite early this morning to put my needle list together for tonight's presentation. And while I was listening to everybody else, this needle list got quite short, so I won't be up here that long. So basically, a lot of my questions are going to be proposed to Mr. Gold, who's behind me, so excuse me for my back, Mr. Gold. Let's start here.
State where you live.
I live in Pinehurst Circle, Mansion Ridge.
Thank you.
Well, let me start off with this. Okay, so I moved to Monroe in 1984. I spent a couple of years here. Then I moved to Highland Mills for 25 plus years, only to come back to Monroe 2 years ago. Mr. Gold, the field station Dinosaur, located in Linoleum, New Jersey, is based in Bergen County, a 45-minute drive from Monroe. You are basing your vision comparison to its locale, and its other location right now is only in Kansas. I'm assuming Missouri. Why would this locale, so close to proximity to Monroe, why are you putting your application here? It's only a 45-minute drive, and it seems like what you're offering is very much in comparison to what they have down there in New Jersey. Secondly, why not go back to the good people of Walk Hill as it distances you further from the New Jersey location? Thirdly, why no Sullivan County? Have you looked at Sullivan County, where they will be opening their arms for you, for they need the employment, attraction, etc., and have more land opportunities to offer? And if you're interested, I can make that connection for you. We went ahead and spoke about local restaurants. I truly believe we're not going to gain any traffic to the local restaurants. However, Mr. Gold, many here support your vision as I do. However, the big but as to why in such a residential area. Now, we went through infrastructure, we went through this, you went to the housing development on Harriman Heights Road, 177 homes to be built, which will be perpendicular to Orange County, and it's only a one-lane road. Also, there's a protected bat species. That came up in conversation. Let's talk about water supply. I don't know exactly where you are locating this, but the water supply for Mansion Ridge residents is private, and the project that you're planning is behind it, from what I can gather. We need to talk about that. Residents there pay $1,200 a year for water, an additional $1,200 a year for sewer, because it's private. And will you interrupt that water supply? Are you offering porta potties? Will you pay to connect the towns and municipals to have that area connected to water and perhaps sewer? It is privately owned, so I'm not sure that's even an option. Mr. Gold, I know you from informal workshops you held at Palaio Winery. You have a very good vision when you wanted to create your community located at the Harriman train station. Now, I do not know how many acres were involved, so that is my fault. But you had an amazing vision of 2-bedroom units and shops, et cetera, and most of the town, I should say Woodbury, did support you. I inquired years ago as to why you did not follow up, and what I got was a sense that you were looking for investors, and of course that makes sense, for this was a huge, expansive, and expensive undertaking. Knowing this, I recently asked a board member where your funds were coming from for this dinosaur park, and was told his bank and his partners. I dug a bit deeper and found out that recently you flipped that property in Harriman, and I am waiting on title transfers from the county. So I ask you this, Mr. Gold, is that statement true? I was hoping to ask you today that area closest to Woodbury Commons and the trains will be the perfect area for this park. It's logical in terms of less density, commutable, attraction to all, and infrastructure. However, the new owners are asking the Woodbury Planning Board to increase the original plans from 2 bedrooms now to 4-bedroom units. The biggest fear at your workshop is coming to fruition. I say I am not trusting you, and can you see why?
Got about 15 seconds.
Thank you. It mentioned the paper that Walk Hill left you feeling not right. In other terms, you were semi-rejected, but are they still open to that vision? Why not build your dream there in a place that is welcomed without public pushback? Next, I want to talk about taxes. If we look at Woodbury Commons, we really don't get much taxes, but we can go on and on.
I got to cut you, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Stacy McCleary. Stacy McCleary.
Hi, good evening. Stacy McCleary, Monroe resident. Thank you to the board for the opportunity to be able to speak this evening. I am here as a resident of Monroe and a mother of 4. I have a passion and love for our town. My husband and I chose to live and raise our children in Monroe over 15 years ago and would like to continue to see our town flourish. I was able to watch the presentation recently given by Mr. Gold, and I believe this project will provide ratables on taxes and an opportunity for the children of Monroe Woodbury to explore any educational aspects and obtain jobs that the Dinosaur Park may offer. I have trust in the members of this board, and they have made themselves readily available for any questions regarding this project. I look forward to staying involved and following the process to its fruition. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dan Depew.
Good evening, Mr. Supervisor, members of the town board. My name is Daniel Depew, and I live at 348 Prospect Valley Road in the town of Walk Hill. And I know there's some folks who feel that if you're not from the town, you shouldn't be able to speak. I was the town supervisor of the town of Walk Hill for 6 years, and our policy was anyone who came to speak, as long as they were respectful, was allowed to speak. So I appreciate you carrying in that honor. I also feel that the town of Walk Hill was mentioned more tonight than the town of Monroe because of this project. So I just want to address a few maybe misconceptions, and I don't think it's anyone's fault that they exist. I think it's just maybe the lack of press these days covering things accurately. The reason why the project left the town of Walk Hill is not because the residents didn't want it. It's because there was a disagreement between the planning board and the zoning board, and it was a technical disagreement. There were a number of residents of the town of Walk Hill who really love this project, and I'm one of them. I have 3 children. My wife's a teacher. We're constantly looking for ways to help raise a well-rounded, educated child, as I'm sure most of the parents in the room do, and I'm sure you have as well. My first experience in the town of Monroe was coming to Museum Village as a young child. Coming down to this area on a school bus. I didn't come from a family with a lot of money, so that was a local trip that we were able to do with our school. And I remember it to this day. And not only for me to do it, but my siblings to do it, to share in that magical experience of learning, all within our community. I think that's something that we need to look for, not just in this town, but in every town. And quite frankly, Museum Village is a great example of when it works right. I would ask that all of the concerns of the folks here, I think that they're legitimate and that they need to be answered. But I have a lot of faith in the board and the way they conduct themselves, and I would think that you would do your best to answer those questions and to make the right decision. I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Joshua Brown.
Josiah Brown.
Josiah, my apologies.
Thank you for that, Tony. My name is Josiah Brown. I am not a resident. I was born and raised in Middletown, but I've had the pleasure for the last 18 years to travel New York State. I do about 50,000 miles a year in promoting the visitor economy of New York State. And what we're seeing, Niagara Falls has traffic, Saratoga has traffic, Lake Placid has traffic. But none of these communities would trade the economic stability that these brought in a time that seemed like they didn't need it. But it brought in an economic stability that the communities now are basically relying on for that stability. And what it allows is it allows for young people to return from college. Young people are leaving New York State in droves, and they are moving almost certainly to places that are full of attractions and life and restaurants and economic viability through the visitor economy. What has happened is that agriculture has dripped away. Manufacturing has slowly dripped away. We're now seeing post-pandemic that even commutable jobs to New York City are dripping away. And young people are beginning to get virtual jobs, and they are choosing to live in places that have a life and a vibrancy and family attractions and things to do. And so when I say a visitor economy, I don't just mean people working at the front desk of a hotel or working as a ride operator or working in any of these jobs. A lot of the criticism that was brought up about Legoland is they'll just be summer jobs or they'll just be front end jobs. What happens in these communities is that the daycares become full because people are working. The landscapers are suddenly full. The people delivering propane, the florists who are delivering flowers to the hotels, that's all connected to the visitor economy. And we found out for one brief moment what it looked like when visitors didn't come. And I could fill a bus and take you to hundreds of communities that were once successful and said we don't need visitors, who now their economic foundation is visitors. Their growth is coming from visitors in all of these different sectors. A visitor economy is the future. We're making future decisions now. And I could also fill a bus and bring you to places where 2-lane roads go into an attraction. And the residents say, you know, we didn't know what to expect, but now we see. My children are down the street on Thanksgiving. We just went through Easter. My kids walk up the street and have Easter dinner with me. They don't have to fly. They don't have to drive 8 hours. They're here. If we want cousins going to school together, we have to have economic opportunity, and you just have to open your eyes. Young people are leaving New York, and it might be fine now, but I could give you a list of 25 destinations that it was fine at one point and it dripped away. So these decisions about visitor economy infrastructure are the decisions of the future, and we're deciding today if cousins are going to go to school together and if our grandkids are going to walk up the street for Thanksgiving. That's what these are decisions about. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim Cosenza.
I'm going to try to be politically correct here. Okay, number one, people are leaving New York because of the taxes and the politicians. Let's get that straight. Number two, our people from Goshen made it perfectly clear why this doesn't belong there. 300,000 people on those roads, no way can handle it. Try to go to Tuxedo during the Renaissance Fair. You can't move. Try to go down Bramertown Road during the Renaissance Fair. I went from my back, I live at 42 Bayberry. This is in my backyard. The main emergency entrance is going to come out on Bayberry, correct? That's what that access road is for the emergency.
There's an access point there, but
I mean, there's no way Orange Turnpike could handle this volume. It's just impossible. And we have people saying, yeah, we want to take our kids there. Your kids aren't going to get there because you're not going to be able to move. It's going to take you 2 hours to get 10 feet. Try going to the Renaissance Fair. You can't move. And that's only, 6 weeks a year? This is going to be 6 months to a year? It's just going to ruin everything. I mean, our town is supposed to be, my wife's family's been here since '75. There was horse farms. It was a pleasure to be here. We're going to put something here that's going to bring people that there's going to be no movement. You're not going to be able to get anywhere in town. It's just, I'm sorry, but if it's such a great idea, I beg the board, put it up to a vote. Let us decide what we want in our town. If the people decide we want it, then we have it. I mean, I trust you guys. I love you guys. You guys are getting a bad rap on Facebook. You guys are getting killed. I know you're doing this to try to help the town. Sal, you bring them in businesses. I commend you. But please, this is not for us. If it was such a good idea, bring it to Goshen. They have Legoland. You put it up there. I mean, it's just, we just can't handle the people, especially in that area. I mean, I'm sorry, but thank you.
thank you. Thank you very much.
Steve Gross.
No,
He spoke.
I think there's another
No.
one.
Steve Gross.
Steve Gross, too. I'm the other Steve Gross. I got up when he got called. I don't know if he got up when I got called, but.
Twins.
Yeah, but my name is Steve Gross. I live in Warwick, New York, and I'm the principal of Hudson Highlands Environmental Consulting. I just had this brought to my attention, and I have, but I'm being asked by some local landowners to review this project. I came tonight thinking that, I would learn a lot. I'm rather surprised that there was very little for me to learn. The applicant mentioned that he's going to have 60 animatronic dinosaurs and 30 that are not. Obviously, they've been figuring this out and doing a layout. There's no layout for us to look at. There's nothing here for anyone to assess the impact. This board, I noticed, issued a negative declaration on from the secret process on issuing the lease for this, or authorizing the lease for this. I will say that with my 45 years of experience in this field, that was improper. The decision that you just made to authorize the lease is subject to secret review. That's why you gave it a negative declaration. You knew it was subject to secret review. However, you have no secret analysis. You have no environmental analysis. You have nothing on which to base that decision. That violated, you said you did everything in accordance with the law. You did not. Seeker, the State Environmental Quality Review Act, and back me up on this. I see the lawyer making motions.
No, he's going to comment on it after.
Yeah. The State Environmental Quality Review Act has a provision in it that's known as, it's non-segmentation. You cannot segment one part of a decision from the other part of the decisions. All of it. When you authorize the lease, you're enabling the process that will create the park. Any decision that you make that enables the impact, whatever the impacts may be, which you have not identified yet, is subject to seeker. So issuing the, or authorizing the lease is part of the decision-making process that should have considered all of the environmental impact, and I've heard quite a bit. The location of this site for traffic is crazy. Legoland is located on Route 17. The Dino Park in Leonia is right off the New Jersey Turnpike. New Jersey Turnpike. This is in the middle of nowhere. So the impact on traffic, the cultural impact on the O'Neill Mine, the impact on the character of the community, including the village of Harriman, including anything else around here. It's all very important and significant issues that need to be analyzed under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, and this board failed to do that when it issued a negative declaration. At a very minimum, I agree with the speakers that said that this should be open to public referendum, but only after you've got the environmental analysis. Only after you've got a site plan and everything. This should never have had a lease authorized for it. It's premature. It's putting the cart before the horse. So I would encourage this board to get in at least a preliminary site plan, something to indicate what is going on here so people can see it, can see what the impact is going to be. They've got lines drawn around certain areas. They've figured things out already, but they have not shared that. So I think that the authorization for the lease should be rescinded and subjected to a proper seeker review, and that in the end, it should all be opened up to public referendum.
Thank you. I want you to comment. No, I'd like him to comment now on that portion of it.
Sure. With respect to the environmental review, and with all due respect to Mr. Gross, there in fact is restrictions on segmentation, but there's also something in New York which is well established in cases known as permissible segmentation, which was addressed in the environmental review of the lease. And the reason for that is the town board is only at that point considering the lease of the property, which was a necessary part of the process, but the town board does not have sufficient plans and a site plan, because that application, I know he was referred to as an applicant, there is no application yet. This project hasn't even reached that stage. That is why this was a case where segmentation was permissible with respect to the lease of the property, but the entire environmental review of this project has not even commenced and will be conducted considering every issue that has been raised here from an environmental standpoint. Nothing is being bypassed with respect to this project. There will be the planning board, there will be public hearings, there will be environmental review, and an opportunity for everybody to comment on those things. So the fact that the lease was issued with a negative declaration and permissibly segmented from the review of the project itself will not prevent the environmental review, and there are cases in similar circumstances in New York where that type of segmentation has been upheld.
Thank you.
Sharon Shear.
Oh, hello, everybody. I am Sharon Shear. I've lived here since I was 1972. I considered it Mayberry. As time has gone on, it has changed a lot, and all of us have had to get used to a lot of changes. I think there's some interesting things that have come. I was asked to come and take some information down for a local newspaper, and I was going to give both sides a wonderful chance at, swaying me either way. And so Mr. Gold has a wonderful idea. I think it's a wonderful idea. Children need a place to go. You don't know this, but there is a TikTok challenge on how to herd animals, and they basically put this up on TikTok now. And so when the children don't have things to do, they go out and they herd animals, or they just don't know what to do. This environmental, I'm also belonging to an environmental watchdog group. So I think Mr. Gold has a wonderful idea. I think Dinosaur Park is a great idea for Tuxedo or another place. But I believe it's not common sense. It's not common sense for here. I am directly involved with rescuing swans and cormorants and deer, and I pick up doe and I have them rescued and sent to little rehabilitation centers. I spent a lot of time in Mansion Ridge over the last 10 years, and it is the most peaceful, beautiful place, and I can't even imagine the view. I mean, a lot of thought hasn't been put into this. The traffic, as of right now, we don't have Dino Park. I was hit 6 months ago at a stoplight because people are flying around. There's gridlock now. There's gridlock now. 300,000 people, and I do have another question about the math, about the acreage. 30 to 40 acres are to be developed. I did the math, so what's about the other 100? 131 acres are approved by the town. Approved by the town for what? So I do have a lot of questions. Environmentally, do you know that on the 13th hole and Mansion Ridge we have a pet bear? A bear, a real bear. And there's a lot of bear in that area right now. So what's the plan for them? Do we go in and we shoot them all? I mean, why do we have to hurt the wildlife? So this is a suburb. This is not a city. And I notice another interesting thing. All these people coming from the tourists, from all these places, they don't live here in Monroe. I love how people come from different areas to my house and want to knock and clear cut all the trees down. We have people building, and we don't even have sewage set up yet. So yeah, sewage is a problem. And no, this board is not transparent, and they haven't been transparent about our environment, and it has always been that way. So these people, I don't know, whoever doesn't come to town board or doesn't keep up on stuff, but y'all need to keep up on stuff. Because we have a salt that costs $1 million worth of runoff from the road department, and I actually have ways to fix that, and no one has even checked into the beet and the beer juice, and there is other things you can mix to keep even the water supply correct. So I do have questions. I do think Neil Gold has good intentions. I think that he has good intentions for the 35 acres, but I wonder about the 90. What's to happen with that? And the other thing is the property isn't for sale. The property was for lease, so does that mean what's going to happen with that property? I'm like, this place is gorgeous, and right now it's all I can do to get the deer signs. And yes, we're peeling deer off the road right now, all the time, because the people are flying, they can't even do the 30, they do 50 up and down this road. I've asked for deer signs on the corners, and I went to the Middletown, the highway department up there, and they said there's not enough deer getting killed yet.
I'm going to give you about 15 more seconds.
So, I mean,
please.
I have a lot of questions. And I'm trying to give both sides a fair shake. I say no to the Dinosaur Park. I say yes to please moving it someplace else. I liked Mayberry. It's no longer, but I want to hold on to whatever I have. And I know this town board approves things without letting us know it on things. And I believe in the referendum. I think you should put it up for that. And at the end of the day, let the people finally check in, because you guys don't get it. You work for us. You work for us. We pay your salaries, and we want to be heard. Okay, thank you very much.
Lorraine Loning. Lorraine Loning.
Hi, good evening. My name is Lorraine Loning. I live in the village of Monroe. This evening, I'm not going to talk about the downsides of this project: traffic, loss of habitat for wildlife, litter, water and sewer usage, or burdens placed onto neighboring municipalities, as I believe those will be looked at during the planning board process without town board interference. At least I hope that will happen. This evening, I want to talk about the revenue associated with this project. I've been reading and hearing about the injection of revenue for the town this project will bring. From where I'm sitting, the only revenue that will be collected is the rent in the agreed-upon lease agreement, which is yet to be made publicly available. On March 29, 2022, using the Freedom of Information Act, I requested the lease, emails, and other documents related to this project. To date, I have received nothing, and I would like to know why you would hold a public comment session on something and then not make information available for the public to comment on. So how much money is the town going to collect from the lease? I would point out that the lease the town struck with Flagship for the movie theater did not generate all the revenues the town government thought it would, something to consider when you make bold revenue proclamations. I've heard that the property taxes that will be collected, this is municipal land, so there will be no property taxes collected. I hear about sales tax that will be collected. Sales tax is collected by the county, and then the county distributes the money. Typically, the lion's share goes to cities. Monroe is not a city. We only have to look to Woodbury. That has a big tourist destination within their borders, with a lot of sales tax collected. Yet the increased costs of policing, courts, and traffic control are largely borne by the residents of that community. I hear how people will be coming to the Dino Park and then eat in our restaurants. I dispute that. And so does Ms. Hallahan, I believe, from the Orange County Partnership. She's saying that all these visitors will be in school buses with bagged lunches, not in their cars. I believe any day trippers will eat on site in the park-provided food trucks and then return to their homes without eating at many of our pizzerias. For those who do stay the night, they will no doubt stay in Woodbury or maybe Chester, where there are overnight accommodations, and then eat dinner near their rooms. Secondly, with the proposed exit being right turn only, guests will be redirected towards Harriman and Woodbury via Harriman Heights Road or towards Tuxedo. So where do you expect them to turn around to come back into Monroe? Onto Pine Tree Road? This is all very reminiscent of a town plan to reopen a movie theater. How quaint that seems now. Not one tree would have been cut down during that endeavor, which was passionately opposed by your followers and birthed a political movement which supported all of your elections. I believe the problem with that project was the messenger. Some of the same people who were opposed to that movie theater being run by the town are now in favor of this Dino Land because their dear leader is in favor of it.
Waleed Hardy. Waleed.
Waleed Hariri. I live here in Monroe for the last 4 years with my wife, 5 kids. We close to the proposed park.
Well, if you could please speak into the mic.
Sure.
Thank you.
I can't hear you.
I think your mic's off. I just don't see the red light. I don't
Yeah,
think it's on.
I think it turned off when you moved it. She'll help you.
You know what we have to do, Mrs. Brown?
Oh, okay.
Hold on 1 second. I wanted to reset the clock. Go ahead.
A lot of the things that I wanted to mention, a lot of the neighbors already mentioned it here, but I just would like to add a couple of things for Mr. Gold, and that's according to him and what he said, that on this park, there is only 2 buildings, and the rest is going to be tents. So how is that tax? You can't tax tents, or that's not going to bring anything to us. That's one thing. The other thing is saying they wanted a specific turn for them, and then the town is going to have to spend the money to create all this thing for them. No, that's not the town's going to be spending.
Not the town's responsibility.
Okay. So what about all the traffic that it's causing by this, and all the tear and wear for all the highways and stuff? You're talking about $3 million that the town is going to get a year. How much money are we going to spend? How many police officers? All the things that was mentioned to take care of this. Another thing is that was talking about mainly going to be kids and buses. How is the kids going to come and give our businesses? How is that possible? If that's kids that come in, if it's mainly kids, I just don't understand how is that gonna help. Another thing is municipal. They're looking for municipal. Who's gonna have the municipal water for them? Is it the town or they gonna spend that money for it too? They don't wanna have their own wells or water. How is that possible too? I just don't understand. How is that gonna benefit us? I mean, when we moved up here and came here, because I'm not against the idea itself. It's a beautiful idea, fine. But how is it educational for $40 a person, from $20 to $40? How often can you bring your kids here? And do you think someone is going to take them 2 hours or more to get into the park? They have time to go to the town to spend a few dollars in a store or somewhere? How is that going to benefit us in any way or shape? I just don't understand. I mean, we really, really voted for you guys here to protect us, to care about what we care about. This is residential area. This is not near the highway where all this other project is. And all the people that are coming from different places, from Warwick, from Goshen, how come they coming here telling us how we could conduct our business in our own town? How is that possible? Why can they vote? And the gentleman mentioned that they stopped the project not because of the people. It was something has to do with the zoning. So why you don't just fix that and call them back to go to you? If that's the only problem, if the people like it so much. Again, we're not against it, but that doesn't make sense. Also, he didn't say what was the problem with the zoning. Just mention it. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. So please, we want you guys to care for us, and we're not going to vote for anyone who doesn't care about us. That's pretty much what it is. I mean, we love Monroe. We want Monroe for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Roger Friedman.
I'm Roger Friedman. I live in the town of Warwick. And I am co-chair.
Folks, come on.
I'm sorry?
No, I just telling people to stop the comments.
No,
Let them speak,
it's
ladies
okay.
and gentlemen,
It's okay.
please.
I'm co-chair with my colleague Sue Scher of the Sterling Forest Partnership. And it's our mission to protect the wildness of Sterling Forest, which has a border with the proposed project. Now, I want to state right here that the Sterling Forest Partnership wants to be included as an involved agency, assuming the town board is going to be the lead agency in the secret process. We request at this point to be one of the involved agencies to be able to, in the secret process, and to be fully informed of all secret activity. We have a very good track record. The Sterling Forest Partnership has a very good track record. You can ask the Genting Corporation that wanted to put a casino inside of our park in 2014. You can ask Lou Heimbach, who wanted to build a housing project in our park in 2004. None of those things happened. Mr. Cardone, you said in your opening remarks that you wanted to stick to facts, and I respect that. I think that's a very good idea. Now, one of the things that's been bandied about here this evening, which is definitely not a fact, is that this is going to be an educational park, not an amusement park. That's very much a matter of interpretation. It's not a fact. And in my interpretation, this is not only an amusement park, it's kind of a cheesy one. I mean, those big plastic machines, with mouths gaping. I don't think that even a six-year-old is going to stay interested in that for very long. So that's just my personal opinion. That's not a fact. It's my interpretation. But I think that it stands equally with the interpretation that this is going to be somehow educational, or, at least it'll make the park. If it's presented as educational, at least it will make it, it will qualify it for educational grants, right? Anyway, that's all I have to say, so please keep us in mind. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kenneth McFarland.
Good evening. Thank you. My
Good
name is
evening.
Kenneth McFarland. I live in Mansion Ridge development. I've been residing in Monroe for approximately 32 years. And I first want to thank the board for all the hard work that they do. And just wanted to add my voice to a lot of what's been said. There's a term in real estate called location, location, location. And in this case, it's just a bad location. It's when you look at where it's located, if you drive around that area and you look at the traffic, and as the mayor of Harriman said, the infrastructure is just not there to support that type of park. If you look at the existing draws, let's say Woodbury Commons or Legoland, they're off of major thoroughfares. We're talking, as it has been stated, a 2-lane residential road. And it's just when you drive around in that area, you just kind of shake your head and like, this is where we're considering. I'm not opposed to dinosaurs. Some of my best friends are dinosaurs. But what I'm opposed to is a dinosaur park that's located in a residential area that doesn't have the access to it. So it's just not a good idea, at least in that area. What I would ask the board, though, is there not a location off of 17 or 17M of a major area, major road that could accommodate the flow of traffic from the city, the amount of traffic that we're talking about? Is there not another location of 35 plus acres that we could consider? Again, I'm not opposed to economic development and growth. It's just putting it in the right location, and where it's being proposed is just the wrong location. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Liam Wishot. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that last name wrong.
Hello, everyone. I'm Liam Weishart. I live in Monroe. I just want to draw attention to some things that were said on the March 7th meeting regarding Neil Gold believing that Monroe needs 4 hotels to service all of the attractions that he thinks will be in this dino park. And the direct comparisons he's made to Legoland, the Woodbury Commons, and Disneyland. And I want to ask what the vision for the town is, because if the vision for the town is to have the Woodbury Commons, and in Neil Gold's words, the 3rd best attraction in New York State in Monroe, and all these hotels, and as other people have pointed out, the traffic, what does the town look like? And if the town is going to change in this dramatic way, and people are going to start Airbnb-ing out their houses like they do for Disneyland, then we should be able to vote on that, because I don't think anyone here signed up to live in that kind of environment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Paul Sicily.
There we go. Good evening, everybody. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you.
Hello, neighbors. How are you guys doing? All right. My name is Paul Sicily. I've lived in Monroe my whole life. You'll have to reverse engineer it, figure out how old I am. I'm taking, a toll here. So let's talk about, we'll go back to the Mansion Ridge. When Mansion Ridge in the early 90s was first proposed, there was 2 other additions besides the 2 that were built. The impact of the houses was enormous. It was a large development that was going in different phases. So they have 11 wells on their property. When they tapped the 11 wells, a lot of residents over in Sapphire, Shadowmere, anybody who had a well went dry. We already know this. We fought this. That's why the lovely lady from Middletown doesn't know that why we came out is because we were concerned about our water. Without water in our neighborhoods, which are on private roads, it's a disaster. My property is worthless. So the impact of the development was decreased with the size because of the well issue and the septic. So we knocked it down. It wasn't that we were opposed to it. There's lots of people that are opposed to a lot of things, but we were opposed to the size of it taking our resources away. And not that this is going to be a lot of water. I don't even see any numbers of how much water, if this is to go through, how much water use, bathroom, sewer-wise, the fire department. I know a lot of people talked about this, but when we went to and did Mansion Ridge and reduced it, they fixed Orange Turnpike. They put a tunnel underneath Harriman Heights Road for the golf course. There was a lot of amenities done, which we had paid for, not really the development. We paid for it in taxes. They did some of it. We did a lot of it, because that's that's a county road, County Route 19, correct?
Orange Turnpike?
Old Orange Turnpike, yes.
Yep.
So, besides that, I don't know if anybody lives in that way, around that area on the board. Does anybody live close to there? Do you do traffic in the morning if you're going down there? It's crazy. There's a lot of traffic, especially anywhere between 5:30, 6 o'clock, and about 9 o'clock with the buses, stopping all the time. Impact, as the gentleman said before me, location, location, location. I don't think, a lot of people are opposed to change. There's got to be some sort of responsibility of everybody, not just the board, the rest of us, about responsible building. And we don't necessarily see that all the time. I think that we, as the residents of this area, need to be involved. And as you can see, there's a lot of people here. I'm pretty sure when I watch it on TV, there's...
We twice as many.
No. Yeah. No, there's less, and I'm not disparaging anybody. I'm just...
No, I know.
This is a hot topic. Again, and I don't want to beat around the bush here, but everybody knows it, that I think that he has a great idea, but again, it's not for that. There's so many factors fighting against this at this point. Like, there's perfect places for it. I got 5 of them. The parachemical plant, Lake Ann, Camp LaGuardia, the new development they tried to put in Tuxedo, that Tuxedo is drowning. And I'm not trying to disparage Tuxedo, but they're in a lot of hot water. They can't stabilize. When Mansion Ridge was done and it impacted the rest of the area, even with traffic. Again, if you go to Mansion Ridge, hey, they're a top golf course, but it's $145 to go there. And I'm not, again, if you're running buses up and down there, I think it would impact some of the business even in the surrounding areas. There's parcels on Harriman Heights where old St. Pat's military was, that's just sitting vacant, that nobody knows what's going on with that. Basically, a lot of people here tonight are really concerned about water and traffic. I've been here, and I'm going to give my age because you guys dealt with me for this long. I'm 52.
And I'll give you another 30 seconds, okay?
Sure. I'm 52. I used to play in the woods, all over the woods, all right? It was nothing like this. Where the TD Bank was a barn. I can go on and on. I remember the 2 houses where the gazebo is in Monroe. Our residents like this area because it is country, not the city. And that's all I have to say. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Tom LaPola.
Good evening.
Good evening. Tom LaPola, longtime Monroe resident. Pardon my appearance. I had no
You
intentions.
always look good, Tommy.
I had no intentions of speaking tonight. It's been a long time since I appeared before this board. A few changes. Congratulations, Dory, right? Congratulations. And I apologize, I'm late to this game with Dinosaur Park. But seeing there's a wide variety of opinions on this issue, based on these wide divergent views, and it seems there are, probably the only way to move forward, and I agree with many other speakers tonight, is through the referendum process. After a very thorough review, mind you, and I'd advise all my fellow residents to pay very close attention, because the last time we had a referendum here in Monroe, there was a lopsided result that may have brought us some political autonomy for a short period of time, but in the end drastically changed our community. You folks decide if it's for the better. All right? So do your homework, folks. I plan on doing mine. And seeing all these outside opinions tonight, not only commercial for a Frisbee golf course, but 3 PSA commercials from those who don't have a vested interest in our town. So if they think it's such a great idea, let them promote or re-promote it in their own communities. Thank you.
Thank you. That's it?
That's all that signed up.
Anyone else want the opportunity to speak? I'll allow 2 more if need be, not if you spoke already. Sorry. 2 more. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Kevin Donahue. I'm from Monroe.
I'm sorry,
And
your name again, sir?
I want to say I have total faith.
Kevin Donahue.
Kevin Donahue.
Town of Monroe.
Regardless of the outcome of this or whichever way it falls, it bothers me that your integrity is questioned. You've been upstanding people, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I know you guys, I know you're all straight, especially you, and you. I got 7 kids, 2 with the broom rider, 5 with the good wife. Not one of them care about dinosaurs. If you want to do dinosaur educational, Legoland. Add on to Legoland and put a dinosaur section to it. Legoland, Lego would make dinosaurs. You got a disaster on the other side of 17, that when they're full, traffic is going to be unbelievable.
Sir, can I just interrupt? Can you just state your name, please?
Pat Rooney, Chester.
Thank you.
My daughter grew up with your daughter. That's it.
Thank you.
You got a big enough disaster going on. You don't have to add to it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all.
Okay. Let's take a 5-minute recess. I'll make a
Yeah,
motion.
I'll make a motion. We take a 5-minute recess
I'll
before we
second
continue the
it.
meeting.
Call a question.
Bingham, aye.
Cool eye.
Cardone, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
McKenna, aye.
All right.
Holy cow, I gotta pee.
Running notes?
I hear you. All right.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion that we come back into session.
I'll second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scangarello,
Cardone,
aye.
aye.
McKenna, aye.
I'm sorry, who seconded that? Mary, thank you.
Okay. Item 6.1, the acceptance of the April 4th, 2022 minutes.
I'll second that motion.
I'll second.
Changes, alterations, corrections, adjustments? No? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
McKenna, aye.
So moved. Okay. We have an amendment to the January 4th, 22 minutes. And that amendment is as follows.
You need the paper?
No, I have
I have the hard copy if you'd
Go
like
ahead,
to
then
see
read it. I have a hard copy, but I have the resolution on my,
Oh.
You want me to read it?
It's right here. Would you like to see it?
yeah. Go ahead, you want to
Which
read
one
it?
is that?
Madam Clerk, go ahead.
So this is for Second Deputy Tax Collector. Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Monroe hereby appoints Barbara Singer as Second Deputy Tax Collector, stipend $1,000 effective January 5th, 2022, with a term to expire January 31st, 2022.
Okay. Thank you. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Cancarello, aye.
And I,
So moved. Amendment to the March 21st, 2022 minutes. Madam Clerk?
Okay, so that is a recap of the Eagle Scout ceremony. And the only amendment there was that A.J. Roberts, his last name was missing.
Excuse me, okay. So I'll make that motion to amend the minutes to include A.J. Roberts'
Second.
name. Call the question.
Discussion. The one about resolution number 2022, number 174, about Jackie, that's highlighted on mine.
I need to go back to that.
That's next.
Oh, that's next, okay. All right, so Bingham, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Cancarello, aye.
and I,
Okay.
Supervisor, there actually was one other motion for that first one, the amendment of the January 4th minutes.
Yes,
And
it
that
was
was Barbara, Deputy Town Clerk, Second Deputy. Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Monroe hereby appoints Barbara Singer as Second Deputy Town Clerk, salary $36,000 per year, effective January 5th, 2022, with a term to expire 12/31/2023.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Cancarello, aye.
and I.
So moved. And then we have Jackie Matuszewski's adjustment.
Oh, no, okay, got it. Sorry, George.
Okay. Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Monroe made a motion to approve Jackie Matuszewski Finance Department hourly pay increase from $19.50 to $22 per hour, effective payroll period 3/20/22 to 4/2/22, check date 4/8/2022.
A motion.
I'll second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Pool, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Cancarello, aye.
And I,
So moved. Item 7.1, the general fund abstract. And item abstract 22-07 for $193,237.66. I'll make a motion to approve that.
Second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Pool, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Cancarello, aye.
and I.
Okay, so moved. Next up is a cash transfer of investment funds in the town of Monroe. That's dated April 18th, 2022, and the total amount, which was going from M&T to New York class, is $3,460,000. And that is just to shift money from M&T Bank to New York class in order to obtain a higher interest rate.
A motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Pool, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Cancarello, aye.
And I,
So moved. Next up is the tax collector account. Our tax collector has requested that we transfer $1,270,396.33, and that's dated on April 18th, abstract number 2022-01 from the tax collector's account. I'll make that motion.
Pool,
Second.
second.
Who seconded? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Pool, aye.
Cardone, aye.
and I.
Okay. Next up, Water District Number 1, Councilwoman Bingham.
Water District 1, as Councilman McGinn knows, had some water issues not this Sunday, but the prior Sunday. There was some electrical kind of problem that caused a water outage for like 10 minutes on and off. And then when they fixed that problem, there was a pipe that burst or started to leak in the pump house. So unfortunately, our highway department was there for practically all that Sunday working on that repair. So I reached out to our engineer, McGooey Hauser Edsel, Sean Arnott, and he's going to check to see if there's a way to, they call it a skid. You put all the stuff on a skid and you set it up where it is now. So in the future, if there's ever a new pump house built, it could be just kind of relocated. So he's going to get some numbers for us because he's not sure if it needs Department of Health approval. So that's just a status update as to what's going on in Water District 1, but that's some district that has had numerous issues, and we want to try to nip it in the bud before it really gets to be a bigger problem.
Yeah, no, thanks, Mary. I know I spoke to that morning. I mean, I guess, I think obviously the expansion tank needs to be replaced. There's two. One is totally shot, and I guess the other one is now.
Yeah, there's only one that's working, and one of the variable pumps that they thought was going to work from 12 cannot work over there.
I know our hope was that we would hold out long enough, but I think, especially with the summer coming and increased water usage, I think the ratepayers up there. I don't know what we have in that district account, but I think we're going to have to procure a new expansion tank, and I think Tommy took the VSD, the booster from your
12,
district.
but it didn't work.
Yeah,
It didn't work.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean,
tried.
He's also doing an inventory on the needs of that water district, and he was going to get it to us hopefully within the next week. So, yes.
The resources are few.
One other thing is possibly think about putting a well, because that district gets its water from the village. So possibly look into if a well could be tapped somewhere along the line.
So way back when, that was actually a community well that serviced the High Ridge district, not the houses on Rye Hill. And then, like a lot of the community wells, it was abandoned by the developer. And that was after the well had crapped out, and what happened was Alex Smith, the farmer, was running a 2-inch water line from a well that he had down in the field up to High Ridge, across the road, and into the well station, which is on that town-owned land behind, and that's what they were pumping. So, and then they petitioned the village.
Sell the water. Right.
By the.
So we'll have hopefully more numbers at the next meeting.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, next up, item 9.2, the Senior Center Security Bid Award. So the spreadsheet's before you in executive content. There were 3 bids. New York Security Systems was $32,050. D-Ben Securities, New York Security Systems out of Middletown. D-Ben Securities is out of Newburgh. They came in at $35,043.36. And Excel Securities, corporation out of New York, came in at $23,886.68. So there was quite a difference there. He's since submitted a new workman's comp policy, I guess, when he provided us with the information in the bid specifications that the workman's comp was expired, but he's since supplied with to award this Excel Security Corporation out of New York, the bid for the Town of Monroe Senior Center surveillance camera installation for 2022. And also keep in mind that money will be paid through a grant that we've received through the federal government that Councilman McGinn and Anne Marie Morris diligently worked on. So I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Hall, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
I have to abstain. I worked for that company back up until 2009, so I don't.
Works for them, and you could.
Been out of there a long time.
Okay, thank you. Next up, Morangi Disposal, letter of credit request. Did you do any more research on this, council?
No, I, other than what you sent me, there was a performance bond. I don't have any documents on this line of credit or letter of credit. So
here's the deal. So I think they're stating that their line of credit is an actual cash performance bond. So I think their terminology in their letter is incorrect. So in that cash security bond, it's presently about $753,000. We do not have any other type of bond or anything associated with it. They, from what I understand, they're looking to expand. So I guess they could use the cash. So I'm going to lean towards council to figure out how we can do this, whether it is a formal letter of credit from the bank, which can be done.
or they can do a performance bond for whatever amount. I think you said there was a year left on this contract?
Yeah.
So we can always figure the value of that and take a performance bond for the year, which will probably be less anyway, and then we can always, but maybe we should get from them, I don't know, unless you already know what exactly was done. Was it just, that's all you have is $750 in cash?
Thank you for coming, Paulette. All right, bye-bye.
Hi, Paulette.
Or do you already know, that's it, we have $750 in an account?
I know we have 753,000 and change in there.
Okay. And I guess what we need to know is how we got from, initially there was a bond, I don't know how we got from there to that $750 in an account.
All I know is that the bond paperwork that Val researched and found today expired in 19.
Right, so I don't know if something happened, you know,
So
after that.
I don't remember if when they renewed the contract, they put that cash up. Because if their bond expired, then the cash came into play. So I guess I could check with finance to see when that deposit was initially made.
Okay, yeah, and then we could always reach out to them and figure out what it is they're trying to do, and then if you have a year left on the contract, you can take the value of that contract, make that the security, because that's really what it was posted for, was performance. In the event that they didn't do the job, we would hire somebody else.
So can we pass a motion that we approve a performance bond that, after review of council, is suitable to the town without putting any numbers in it? Or?
Well, yeah, what you could do is, in other words, allow substitution of, if in other words they have $750,000, the resolution could be to approve a substitution of security in an amount to be determined by town council in conjunction with the supervisor to replace the $750,000. So in other words, if we decide based on the contract it's $400,000, that's what's left on their contract, we could return the difference. But either way, they can replace the cash with a form of security. But the amount of that security will be determined, and then we would refund the difference.
Okay.
Between that and the seven, you know, well, I actually shouldn't say they refund that. We return the $750 in exchange for the security, but it won't be necessarily $750 coming in, because that's probably more than we need right now for the remainder. Do you think the contract's up in December?
Up at the end of, I think, end of 23.
Okay. I mean, it's a little tricky to do that unless you just want to, if you're comfortable going with that approach of just saying we're going to determine how much.
But that's up to the board. I'm not going to.
Yeah, I mean, we would determine how much is left between now and the end of the contract in 23 in terms of what, you know, the performance security was. And then if it's less than $750, release that, and we'd release the $750. But I can't say that it's going to be less than that. I just don't know without looking at, you know, how much they need to post.
What's the pleasure of the board?
Can we hold it over till the next meeting, or do they
Yeah,
really?
if that's what you guys want, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, by the way, the other option is just to allow them to replace the 750 and not worry about a reduction. In other words, allow them to post a form of performance security, whether it be a bond or letter of credit for $750,000, and then release the cash.
Then let's just do that. Everybody okay
And
with
if they
that?
want a lesser amount, then they say it'd have to go before the board again.
Yeah, all right. All right, so I'll make a motion that the formal request to withdraw $750,000 from their cash bond be approved, provided they provide us with a $750,000 performance bond.
Right,
Letter of credit.
equal form of security. yeah.
Or equal form of
We'll say
security.
performance security, and that the release will be contingent on receipt
Approval
and
by-
approval of that.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cool, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
So moved. All right. Next up, tax certiorari matter, Harriman Commons versus the Town of Monroe. So, Mr. Nugent, provided us with a judgment. Whole settlement would reduce the subject properties by approximately 3% as recommended by the assessor based upon the property's reduced occupancy and expected change in equalization rate effective with and the expected change of equalization rate will effectively increase the value of the property and lock it in for 3 years pursuant to Real Property Tax Law 727. So, I have anything to say on that? If not, I will make a motion based on Alex Shaw from Ferrick Nugent McCartney's letter and recommendation by our assessor to approve that.
Cool, second.
Any other discussion?
Here, that'll be to authorize the supervisor to execute the consent order and judgment.
Can he make that motion?
Actually, never mind, it's the board approval. Mr. Shaw will sign the actual document, so it'll just be the approval of the numbers and the agreement content.
Harriman Commons versus the Town of Monroe. Any other discussion? Just so everyone knows, this is one of the matters before us. We have multiple ones, and the commercial real estate market is going to be coming at us pretty heavy this year based on the assessor's analysis of it, and that's going to affect the taxable value, which obviously would increase taxes based on the reductions that we're getting. Tied to that is the amount of money we would spend in defending it, and when we do defend these, we're only defending approximately 12% of the reduction because the rest is the county and the school taxes. And neither, obviously, the county does not and the school does not participate in the defense. And the school has most at stake because they are between 72, I think, and 75%. So that's where we stand with everything that's coming before us. Call the question?
Bingham, aye.
Cool, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Aye.
So moved. Okay. Item 9.5, seasonal laborer, Vincent Scavera. So we would approve tonight the position of seasonal laborer, Town of Monroe Highway Department, for an employment period position of June 6th through December 31, 2022, with a rate pay of $19 an hour. He's been pre-approved for employment by the Orange County Department of Human Resources. Any adjustment to the dates is fine. He's been told that the rate is $19 an hour.
I'll second.
Okay, Question?
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Angarello, aye.
Begin aye.
Okay. Next up, we have, coming up, we have 9.6 and 9.7. They are both part-time town clerk attendants.
Town court
What'd I say?
clerk.
Sorry. Part-time court attendants.
Does the town clerk need attendance? No.
I'm good.
There's actually three of them, and if
Okay.
you want, I'll.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so Anthony Batchelor, so there has been 3 court officers that have left in recent months they've either moved out of the area or pursued other employment. So our officer in charge, Jack Bayer, has proposed these 3 individuals for the replacement positions. The first is Anthony Batchelor. He's a retired NYPD officer and is currently a part-time court officer in the town of Woodbury. And so I'll make a motion that we hire him at a rate of $25 per hour.
I'll second.
Call the question?
Just quick question, a start date is 5/1?
I would assume so. He didn't give me that.
Yeah, it's on, it's in the
5-1.
motion, yeah.
Oh, it is in the
5-1,
motion?
yeah.
All right. So
Oh,
Bing-
okay.
All right,
Oh, yeah,
Bingham,
right.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Angarello, aye.
McGinn, aye. Okay, the second candidate is Martin Collins. He is a
person.
retired. He's retired New York State Court officer and lives in Greenwood Lake. And I'll make a recommendation that we hire him.
Pre-approved by the Orange County Department of Human Resources as well. I'll second that motion. Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Angarello, aye.
And the last is Max Hines. Max is a current New York State Court officer, and he's been approved by Orange County Civil Service, and he has a start date of May 1st, and I will make a motion that we hire him effective that date per hour.
Second it. Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Angarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
So moved. All right, next up is 9.9, Mario Gutierrez. No? Okay. Mario Gutierrez has interest in joining the Monroe Conservation Commission. He did send a letter to the commission expressing interest. He lives at 5 Pinehurst Circle in Monroe, and he is a nonprofit professional who serves in senior leadership at Legal Services Organization. He oversees the company's government relations portfolio and manages relationships with elected officials, their staff, and high-level government officials. He's got a bachelor's degree in business management, a master's in international relationships, and he's the treasurer and board member of the Mansion Ridge Homeowners Association. So he's asked to be on the Town of Monroe Conservation Commission. I'll make the motion to approve that. Seconded by Councilman McGinn. Any discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Angarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so moved.
And
Next up.
thank you to Mr. Gutierrez.
Yes, thank you very much. Next up is Dennis Fordham, who has applied for the Conservation Commission as well. Sorry. What's that? Oh, you are here. Thank you for coming down and putting up with this long meeting. We appreciate your time. So, Dennis lives on Conklin Road, and he's spoke to Joe Corona. He's been a permanent resident of Monroe since 2015 with his wife, Joellen. He's a retired consulting engineer and a chartered engineer with in the United Kingdom. Wow. He's lived in the United States since '82, and he's a U.S. citizen. His whole career has been in the engineering consulting field, specializing in railway transportation, infrastructure planning, design, and construction. As a project manager, he's worked on numerous projects involving environmental issues and impacts, and he's familiar with the EA and EIS process. So I'll make Dennis to the commission.
I'll second.
Discussion. Call the question.
Hingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Good night.
So moved.
And thank you,
Welcome
Mr.
aboard.
Porter.
Was there, yes, thank you for volunteering, appreciate it. Was there any, am I missing the slots that they were?
Slot number 7 for
Yeah, slot 7
Mario
for
was
Dennis and
slot
slot 5 for
for Mario.
Gutierrez. You're welcome.
Dennis, I'll just need for you to come to my office to take your oath of office. That's fine, or tonight if the meeting wraps up and you're here, that's fine.
Okay. Next up is item 9.11, use of the town hall meeting room, Eagle Scout ceremony. The meeting room has been requested by Noah Sequeiros, whose Eagle Scout ceremony is slated for Sunday, June 12th at 1 p.m. He will be required to have a certificate of insurance submitted by Troop 440. I'll make a motion to approve that and waive the fee associated with the use of the facilities. Noah's, let me make that motion and I'll wait for a second.
I'll second.
So Noah's project was to create the present dog park that hopefully will be unveiled within the next month. He's done an unbelievable job there. It's one of the most complex projects we've ever had in the town. He's pivoted, as Emery always says, more than 20 times. It's insane. He's gotten down to the final approval of the signage. Emery and I approved it last week. So hopefully within the next month he opens, and I just think he's a great young man who's shown unbelievable leadership in our community.
And
So,
he organized an amazing fundraising event.
oh my God, it was,
That day was amazing.
that event was an Eagle Scout project
In and of itself, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that was the
That
walk
was
around-
the
around the
walk,
lake.
walk,
Yeah.
walk.
Yeah. That was
Yep.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah, really well attended.
yeah. So I'll make a motion to approve that.
I'll
Seconded-
second.
Well, did you second it,
I'll
Sal?
second
someone
it.
else-
Sal
that?
seconded it.
I did, yeah.
I think Sal seconded it.
Sal did, okay. All right, so
You threw your-
call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Again, aye.
Okay. Next up is to approve the general code update estimate to include local laws 1 and 2 of 2022. It would be between $1,260 and $1,525. I would like to approve it, but I would like to hold off until we do the planning board laws so that we're not paying that premium with respect to that. You okay with that?
That's fine.
Okay.
You want to table it?
Yeah, I guess we could table it till we get those laws in place.
How far out are they?
60 days,
Yeah.
yeah. Right, Mr. McGinn? Mr. Nugent? The planning board,
How far?
how far out before we get past those local laws? 60 days, right?
Understanding why are you saying 60?
Well, this is for the update of the E-code,
Already passed and adopted.
right? But wouldn't the planning board laws be in the E-code?
Talking about the reduction in members, that local
Yeah.
law? That's already done, but I mean, it's not in your code, but it's passed and adopted, so there's
No, but does that get written into the E-code?
It would be eventually, but I'm saying the law's in effect, there's no time period involved right now.
Right, but if we want to
Right.
codify them into
But if
into
we wanna
E-code,
put-
that's going to cost us money.
Right.
So I'm trying to save money by waiting to put everything in at once.
So which law are you waiting for? That's, I guess, what I'm missing.
Planning board law.
Were you talking about reduction?
Reduction in
Okay,
the-
but that's done, that's why I'm saying, so what?
So there is
what
no
would
way.
we be waiting?
No, but then we have the alternate that we were going to discuss tonight, so
Okay, all right, now I got you. So that
Yeah.
one, we would
Yeah,
only be setting,
sorry.
I know.
Mike
I-
McGinn, keep him up.
I only keep myself on, never mind. We're not, I'm out of
Glad,
practice with these
I'm glad
late
on the
meetings.
third time I asked you, you said alternate members. Now
Yeah,
I get
sorry.
it. That, you just have to set the public hearing. It's no referrals or seeker or anything, so it could be done in one public hearing whenever you set it in one night. And
But for May
then it
2nd.
would be filed, so I think if you want to set it in May,
Okay.
we could do that in one shot.
All right, so I'll make a motion to table this until the May 2nd meeting. And then if you can provide the clerk with the written law for the alternates.
Tonight, we'll just set,
Yeah,
talk about that charge in E-code, and that's why I was just confirming. That's just to actually put it in the text, but the two laws are on E-code, as new laws that are
Right.
adopted, and they're on there now, so.
so call the question for
Aye.
tabling?
Hall will second.
For tabling it, okay. Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Hall, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Oh, aye.
Good night.
Okay, now I'll make a motion to set the public hearing regarding the planning board alternate.
It and
Yeah,
set it, so it'd be a resolution to set public hearing for what date?
May 2nd?
At 7 PM to consider a local law for the amendment of Chapter 64A of the Town Code concerning planning board alternate members.
Okay.
And just to explain, this is to allow alternates to substitute, right now under state law, they can only substitute if there's a conflict. So this law would allow them, like your zoning board, to substitute if there's an absence or an illness or things of that nature.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Hall, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Good night.
So moved. Okay. I believe,
I think we got to schedule a public hearing for that sewer law. Because,
Max was working on.
57-21.
oh, okay, right, okay. The overlay.
No, that's separate. This the sewer law that allows. Yeah, that allows.
Hookup?
Building, yeah, allows you to do a septic and build at the same density for, a 1 or 2 or 3, home. I'll make a motion that we schedule a public hearing for May 2nd for, I think it's actually a new law, because it was under an old section, but it's 57-21-1, which is termed the local sewer law.
At what time?
7 p.m.
Immediately thereafter. Okay. Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Hall, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Good night.
Okay. There's no old business. We do have young business. Is Mr. Brower signed up to speak?
No public comment unless he would like to.
No? Thank you, Ward. Did you have anything you needed to?
No, just learning and getting familiar. Moved up a couple years ago, my wife and my son.
Well, thank you. Thanks
welcome.
for coming down.
Thanks for being
Love
here.
having you.
Yes.
I always drive past and I saw the lights on and I was like,
Let me go in and see
Go
what's
see what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, cool.
First and third Mondays of the month, we meet. And it's always on the town website. You can look up the meetings there. Had you been here earlier, you would have seen about 100 of your, 100 of your
At
fellow
least.
What do you
neighbors
think
here.
was here, 100?
No, I think there was
No,
more.
Yeah, you
no,
can
it was
sign
more
up.
than 100.
You can,
There was 100, there was 100 chairs initially set up.
So maybe 150?
150? It was about 150.
and also, another good thing you do, we have constant contact.
Yeah,
where
give
we
us your
send
email.
out. So if you want to give your email to the clerk, she'll put you on the list so you get, it's emergencies, it's town events, it's upcoming meetings, it's all sorts of stuff. So it's a good You know, we don't send them out, you know, we don't bomb you
Don't
with-
sell your email.
Yeah, yeah. And we don't sell your information, so,
Anybody else have anything?
no.
No?
Clean sweep is Sunday, Saturday.
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 And the Walton Lake cleanup, too,
Is the
is
same
Friday,
day.
Saturday,
Friday,
and
Saturday,
Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just following up the informational session, there was no decision that will be made. We will await an application, if he still chooses to do so, from Mr. Gold regarding the Dinosaur Park. So, that's it. Anything to add, council?
Wonderful job.
Thank you.
Executive, nothing.
Nope. Nope. All right, I'll make a motion to adjourn the
Second.
April 18th meeting. Call a question?
Bingham, aye.
Pool eye.
Cardone, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
And I.
So move. Thank you all for being here tonight.